Amika Malik. What you need to know about me is that I enjoy presenting my creative side by promoting events, workshops, sessions that takes place here in GDSC. And apart from this, I handle external communications as well. And so I'm the marketing head.
And I'm your co-host for the day. My name is Anant Vijay, and I'm the current content head for the GDSC-IIITM. Something that you might need to know about me: I love watching anime, binging movies, and playing video games. So if you ever feel like it, ping me up.
So we both would be taking you around the corners of GDSC. So before we begin, let's have a small fun session.
Let's begin. So first of all, जैसा कि तुम जानते हो कि ओरिएंटेशन है, सो ओरिएंटेशन इज नॉट ओनली कि हम तुम्हें अपने क्लब के बारे में बताएं, हम भी तुम्हारे बारे में जानना चाहते हैं. वी ऑल्सो वांट टू नो व्हाट योर इंटरेस्ट आर. सो फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप योर इंटरेस्ट इन द चैट. ऑल्सो फन फैक्ट, जब मैं फर्स्ट ईयर में आया था मुझे भी काफी सीनियर्स पूछते थे कि अच्छा तेरे इंटरेस्ट क्या है. तो आई फेल्ट वेरी ऑकवर्ड आंसरिंग दैट, बिकॉज बहुत बार नहीं रियलाइज होता कि व्हाट आर माय इंटरेस्ट. सो लेट मी हेल्प यू आउट हियर. जब तुम 11th 12th में जेई के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे थे, तब कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी चीज जरूर होगी जो तुमने सोचा होगा कि वंस आई गेट सिलेक्टेड इनटू कॉलेज, तब मैं यही करूंगा, तब मुझे वो चीज करनी है, दिन भर वही करता रहूंगा. तुम्हारे लिए वो चीज क्या है? प्रीटी मच वही तुम्हारा इंटरेस्ट होगा.
So
प्लेइंग
drop
क्रिकेट
it
एंड
in the
राइटिंग,
chat box. Yeah.
यूट्यूबर, फाइनेंस एंड साइबर सिक्योरिटी लग
Yes,
रहा है, बट आई डोंट नो फॉर
nice.
श्योर.
Making music as well.
मेकिंग
Oh,
म्यूजिक,
so cool, man.
पेंटिंग, सोशल वर्क. भाई कितना
Cyber
प्रोडक्टिव बैच
security,
है यार.
someone. Nice.
ऑल्सो जस्ट यू गाइज नो, आई हैव नो आर्टिस्टिक टैलेंट व्हाटसोएवर. तो अगर कोई भी ऐसे आर्टिस्टिक चीजों के बारे में बात करता है ना, मुझे बहुत जल्दी जेलसी होने लगती है. ओके.
अंकित का रिप्लाई
Oh,
देखो.
music. That's so cool. Yeah, Ankit, coding and girlfriend.
वेब
Okay.
सीरीज, ये मेरा भाई है
बड़ी
वेब
में
सीरीज वाला.
भाई.
मेरा भी पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट वेब सीरीज एंड मूवीज देखना ही
ये
था.
बताओ पेंटिंग एंड पेंटिंग आ रही है जिम
स्केचिंग, जिम,
कूल
लव वाचिंग क्रिकेट. आई टू लव वाचिंग क्रिकेट. ऑफलाइन गेम्स इज वर्किंग ऑन पीसी. जिम. काफी काफी हेल्दी लोग भी आए यार इस बार. ग्रेट.
एनिमे
काफी लोगों को
एनिमे
जिम
वाले
पसंद है. एनिमे, माय पीप्स,
या
माय फोक. दीपक का स्टॉक्स का
तेरे इस
इंटरेस्ट है.
बैच
दीपक
आई
में
भाई,
लव
चेस वाले
मैथ्स
बहुत.
वाओ
आई एम डन रोप स्किपिंग, डांसिंग आल्सो. भाई साहब, आई हैव सिक्स पैक्स.
बढ़िया अंकित.
Well,
बढ़िया
great. Well, now that we are the cats out of the bag, तुम लोगों की थोड़ी formality भी कम हो गई होगी. So let's carry on with the session because we don't want to divert too much, right? So,
Yep, we have a lot of interesting people.
right.
very much so
So moving on to
moving
the
on
next slide.
hmm.
Now, I want to ask you some questions that you could reply to in binary. So for those of you that don't know binary, simply reply with true or false, yes or no. Cool. So let's see the questions. Moving on. Has this ever happened to you that, let's say, you were interested in a topic, maybe a web series, maybe something technical, whatever, and you were trying to talk to your friend about it, and the friend is looking at you like, "हाँ तो मैं क्या करूँ?" I'm pretty sure this must have happened to you at some point or the other, where you were interested in something and the others are not, right? This so many yeses. I guess a lot of you have experienced
Oh
this.
my
This
god,
actually happens. This happens a lot. Also, a lot of you are replying in one, so you do know binary. Great.
exactly
That's great.
111
Next question. Now, sometimes this feeling of not being able to talk to others can lead to, तुम्हें लगने लगता है कि हो सकता है लोग इस बारे में डिस्कस नहीं करते क्योंकि किसी को इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है, और क्योंकि तुम डिस्कस करना चाहते हो तो हो सकता है तुम अकेले हो जिसको इस चीज में इंटरेस्ट हो, राइट? ऐसा कभी फील हुआ है कि मैं ही हूँ भाई, कोई और है ही नहीं, किसके साथ बैठ के करूँ? उसके वजह से डिमोटिवेशन भी आने लगती है बहुत बार.
0101 okay both
तुम बाइनरी में यस नो लिख रहे हो क्या? 0101 इतना
हाँ ये सीरियसली बाइनरी में रिटर्न जीरो ओके
फुल
oh
कोडर्स.
god
So I
भाई
guess
अभी
this has
दिन
happened to you
दिवस
as
से
well.
पढ़ा रहे होंगे इनको ना.
This has happened to you as well. Also, let's say कि तुमने डिमोटिवेशन को ओवरकम करके कुछ सीखना स्टार्ट भी करा, बट देन अगेन स्टार्ट कैसे करना है? लर्निंग रिसोर्सेज क्या है? जैसे तुमने कोई वेबसाइट देखी बहुत अच्छी, तुम्हें लगा मुझे वेब डेवलपर बनना है, but you don't know how to start, right? People always give generic answers. Just watch a YouTube video, watch this tutorial or something. It's, or at the end, let's say you'll go onto YouTube, you'll search how to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript. A 12 वाली long video will pop up जिसमें एक बंदा हो तुमको बोल रहा होगा मैं तुमको notes provide कर रहा हूँ, ये कर लिया, placement पक्का types. हुआ होगा, सबके साथ हुआ. That's tutorial hell. सब face करते हैं. Again, lots of ones.
Code with Harry. Oh my god.
We're not trying to
Please don't
demean
watch.
anyone. We're not
Please
trying
don't
to
watch
demean
Code with
anyone.
Harry.
Same. Please don't watch Code with Harry. That's why I
अभी
clapped when
यूट्यूबर्स
Anand
की
said.
ही बात
Like-
चल रहा है तो फिर तो एक बंदे का नाम बिना
Controls.
लिए
God.
हो सकता है.
ठीक है. I think लंबा डिस्कशन चला जाएगा. कंटिन्यू करते हैं.
नहीं, continue.
हाँ.
Okay, cool.
भी इस फील्ड में आए हो, अभी तुमने
अब्दुल
कॉलेज ज्वाइन करा है तो तुमको काफी चीजों में पता भी नहीं होगा ना, राइट? बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि तुम किसी दोस्त से बात करो एंड इज लाइक यार मैं वो करके आऊँ, लाइक ये कब हुआ, राइट? हमेशा ऐसा कुछ ना कुछ होता रहता है. यू डोंट इवन नो व्हाट अपॉर्चुनिटीज आर देयर. करेंटली ऑल यू नो इज कोडिंग करनी होती है, बट कोडिंग के अलावा और क्या कर सकते हो, राइट? ऑल्सो लाइक अभी करेंटली काफी सारे इवेंट्स चल रहे हैं जिसके बारे में तुमको अवेयरनेस नहीं है, बट टेंशन लेने की बात नहीं है. इट्स नॉट लाइक यू हैव ऑलरेडी मिस्ड आउट ऑन एनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज. दैट्स व्हाट द जीडीएससी इज हियर फॉर, so that we make sure that you don't miss out on opportunities at least, right? Okay, cool. So moving on, if you've answered yes or one to any of the above questions, which you of course have, many people have answered yes to all three of them, which is like really surprising, but still. So you might have already caught on to what the GDC is for. लेकिन क्वेश्चन से तुमको एक थोड़ा आइडिया मिल गया होगा कि हम
क्या हुआ?
which is why we
हाँ.
like
मेरा हो रहा है क्या
Connection.
या उसका गया?
I thought
I
मेरा
think-
lag
मुझे लग रहा मेरा
Yeah,
lag हो गया.
I thought
सबको
क्या
लग
हुआ?
रहा है कि हम लोग का लैग हो गया.
अनंत तेरा कनेक्शन में थोड़ा वो था इशू.
अब ठीक है.
कंटिन्यू कर ले.
अभी ठीक
हाँ
है.
हाँ हाँ
हाँ.
ठीक है.
So like I was saying, कि तुमको एक अनऑफिशियल आइडिया मिल गया होगा what the GDSC is about, but in order to solve that, we are also calling upon the GDSC lead. Anamika will be taking over from now on, so please.
So, meet our chapter lead, Mr. Manish Kumar, who will be sharing his experience and will be talking about what exactly GDSC is.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you are.
So I'm Manish Kumar, the third year, like currently in third year in your college, from IMG batch, and I'm the current GDSC lead of the IIITM chapter. So you must be questioning like, yeah, GDSC, its full form is Google Developer Student Clubs. तुम लोग का मेल में भी वो टाइटल है. So what exactly is a Google Developer Student Clubs? Okay. So GDSC are like community groups, okay, for college and university students who are interested in Google developer technologies. At least that's what like Google has been promoting GDSC for, and they have been selecting chapters from universities and colleges all around the country and actually the world to lead GDSCs in the institutes. Okay, so we have our own chapter of GDSC in IIITM, and I am the lead of the 2021 to 2022 batch. That is okay. So, what does GDSC aims? So, it aims primarily three things. That is, first one is the connect part. That is, students from the university can meet with each other and with students from other universities as well, like other GDSC chapters to learn. And the second part is actually the learning part, the main part, that is learning different technologies, especially Google ones. So, yeah, especially Google ones like Firebase, Android, Google Cloud, etc. Right? And the third part is Grow. That is we, as Anand will like I think has already just told you guys that we organize different events to like which are like hackathons, etc., which you can participate in and grow. So what is a chapter? Somebody asked. Anant, chapter means so like GDSC in itself is a very big organization. So it's a combination of GDSC chapters from all around the world. I think there are more than 500 plus chapters in the world, and we are a part of that. Is my voice lagging?
No, no,
No,
sir,
no, no,
it's not.
it's
I
fine.
guess he has
No,
some
sir, it's
network.
fine.
Okay, okay, great. So yeah, like GDSC is part of the Google Developer Student Clubs program that is supported by Google developers and Google itself. So you will also like get access to the resources too. That's it from my side. I think Anand can continue now.
Sure. Thank you for the brief, sir. So we move on to the next slide. Right. So far you have understood what the GDSC tries to accomplish, right? तुमको ये पता लगे GDSC करना क्या चाहती है, but तुम्हें ये नहीं पता how we'll go about accomplishing it, right? Like how does this benefit you? Like we want to promote development, right? But how do we actually do it? So this slide is exactly to cover that. The most important fact for a developer is to learn latest technologies. Latest being the keyword here, because let's say कि तुम अभी से 10 साल या 20 साल पुरानी टेक्नोलॉजी सीख रहे हो, तो in the future it's not going to help them. By the time you do that, those technologies would already be phased out. So you need to learn technologies that would be viable in the coming future. That is, let's say 5 or 6 years from now, जब तुम actually graduate करोगे, ठीक है? So you need to be future ready. And the thing is कि the people that continue to live on with the past, more often than not, get buried alongside with it. ठीक है? So keep moving, keep learning, keep moving to the future. Now let's say you learn some technology. तुमने कुछ सीख लिया, कहीं से काफी मेहनत करी, तुमने अपना कुछ सीख लिया, you know everything about it is to know. You even put it on your resume. But how can someone trust you? Like there is a difference between theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. You have gained theoretical knowledge, but how do you gain practical knowledge? बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी होती है जो तुम सोचते हो कि दिस विल गेट कंप्लीटेड लाइक दिस. जैसे बहुत बार ऐसा हुआ होगा, तुम लाइक मैथ्स का कोई प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हो, यू रीड द क्वेश्चन एंड इन योर हेड यू लाइक कि हाँ ये तो ऐसे ऐसे करके सॉल्व हो जाएगा, बट लेट्स यू एक्चुअली ट्राई टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम एंड यू लाइक स्टक बिकॉज नहीं ये ऐसे नहीं होगा, बिकॉज द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन डिफर्स फ्रॉम द थ्योरी दैट यू हैव लर्नड. So you also get to make projects that you can showcase on your resume. Now let's say you also make projects. Now say you also make projects, but how do you know if you're doing projects well? You know, क्योंकि सेम चीज इंप्लीमेंट करने के बहुत सारे तरीके होते हैं. देयर इज नो रॉन्ग आंसर. देयर इज जस्ट एन आंसर दैट माइट बी एफिशिएंट but still correct, not efficient but again still correct. So how do you learn this? This is by comparing your abilities and your skills with others in the same domain. This is where contests come in. You compete with each other for mostly bragging rights, but also for sweet goodies. I mean, who doesn't like free goodies, right? Also, tying back to the points that we had asked you in the beginning of being feeling secluded and feeling like you're the only one interested in something. तो क्योंकि GDSC सिर्फ एक क्लब नहीं है, it's actually a community of developers. And in this vast community, you'll always find someone who agrees with you, who wants to discuss things with you, and always have a fun time. Now, the GDC also provides you with access to much seniors. Like as you can see here, a lot of the people here are third years, and even second years here to help you. तो तुम्हें कभी किसी गाइडेंस की जरूरत पड़े तो तुम हमसे पूछ सकते हो. लाइक अगर तुमको कुछ सीखना है तो व्हाट डू यू प्रेफर, आस्किंग योर डायरेक्ट सीनियर्स जो कि सेम इंस्टीट्यूट में सेम चीजों के थ्रू उन्होंने चीजें सीखी हैं, या फिर लेट से कोरा पे जाके कोई आंसर ढूंढना दैट माइट किसी रैंडम इंसान ने लिखा हो जो जिसने आज तक कोडिंग करी भी नहीं. यू नो, it's we are just more credible. Also, it allows you a platform to collaborate and grow because that's what a developer is, constant growth. Now moving on. If you
So most importantly, the thing which takes place here is you'll stay aware of all the opportunities. Like there are a lot of international campaigns, webinars, and sessions which Google organizes. So you get to know this beforehand by joining our chapter page. You get to know this, and you get uh, a lot of swags as well. Moving forward.
now, अब हमने काफी वेग टर्म्स में बात करी. Like we've told you that we hold sessions and events for you, but what does a session even mean and what kinds of sessions? Like एक बार के लिए कोई इंसान तुमको एक YouTube वीडियो की लिंक भेज सकता है और बोल सकता है इसको देख लेना, that is a session, right? We don't do that. We hold actual sessions. As to what kind of sessions, one of the most major kind of sessions that we hold are workshops, hands-on workshops, where there's a senior who is actually coding in front of you, side by side, alongside with you. He'll be coding in front of you. He'll be explaining his thought process कि अच्छा अगर वो जो कोड लिख रहे हैं क्यों लिख रहे हैं, और अगर वो काम कर रहा है तो क्यों काम कर रहा है, और अगर काम नहीं कर रहा तो क्यों काम नहीं कर रहा. Exactly. You feel me, right? And also another kind of event that we hold are tech talks. Let's say currently तुम्हारे जो perceptions है, what you perceive the industry to be, the reality is not like that. It's one thing to work on a solo project कि तुमने अपना एक project बनाया, you worked on it and you hosted it. But it's a completely different thing to work in the real world, because in that case you'll be working as an entire community. You won't be working solo on projects unless you're like a freelancer. But if you're part of a team, let's say you work in Microsoft, you'd be allotted a team and you'll be able to work as part of a team. So you need to learn how these things work. Again, the difference between theory and practice. Also, the three other points that you see on the screen, that is the GSOC Bootcamp, 30 days of Google Cloud, study jam sessions. These are some of the events that we have held in the last year. And we also plan to do events this year as well. But just to give you a perspective as to what kinds of events have already been held, we've noted them here. Also, don't worry, because I'm not talking about them right now, because separate slides are there for these events, and we'll be talking about them in the coming slides. Moving on.
So you must be really curious to know if we only conduct sessions for intermediates or who has prior knowledge about the domains. So it's nothing like that. We follow an organized structure. So basically, we work on this workshop. First, it goes like this. Workshops takes place on the basics of each topic for beginners. Then we go into deeper concepts for intermediates, and then there's project development thing. People participate in teams and alone as well. Uh, Moving forward, one of them was this really cool 30 days of Google Cloud program where students were part of a since students were a part of a chapter page, they got to know this beforehand. So they could enroll among those 50,000 students across the country and were given these really cool swags, which is in the right side of the slide.
Also, I'm pretty sure तुम्हें इसके बारे में पता होगा. Like if you're on LinkedIn, तुमने काफी सारे लोगों के posts देखी होंगी with swags and merchandise. And
What?
slide facts, it's the same shirt. Just saying,
Woohoo.
just saying. Okay,
Okay,
just saying.
hmm.
Moving on.
So you can add this on your resumes as well.
Right. So as someone in the chat also asked what a jam is. So a jam is simply an instance of a session. What kind of session? Initially, like as Anamika stated, sessions are technical sessions are held, then you're given time, and then you're allowed to work on projects as a contest. This is the same structure that was followed for the Android Hackathon. This was held in our first semester for us. Like literally seniors sat down with us, with people who did not know any kind of coding. They taught us Kotlin, how to do Android development. And then a session with the sessions, then the technical events were held and the contest. We were given 2 months to prepare our own projects. We worked on them, submitted our proposals, the projects, and the winners won goodies that you can see on the screen, the GitHub goodie and the Bobcat. Also, another thing that I would like to add, that is of actually very of high importance. Many people that actually learned Android development in the first semester because of this session actually were able to bag internships in the second year, solely because of this session and what they learned from this. And I'm not even joking. You can ask the second years later on. So
एंड इसका विनर भी अपने प्रेजेंटर ही है.
right, Harshal is here with us.
हैकाथॉन का हर्षल.
Nice.
The winner is here with us. GSOC Bootcamp. Now, some of you might not know about GSOCs. Deep, we'll get to that later. Some of you might not know about GSOC, right?
Let's ask
And some of
Pranav,
you might.
how many of them know about GSOC? Like,
Tell me. अभी binary में answer देना.
hey,
Sure.
come
why
on,
not?
यार, binary
Answer.
हमेशा.
हाँ मतलब
Answer in
GSOC
binary.
का
dude.
नाम तो आई गेस काफी लोगों ने
Binary
सुना
में
है.
two कौन
And
लिखता
what
है?
is two in
Easy.
binary?
Binary में two क्या होता है?
अबे वन मतलब yes, जीरो मतलब no.
नो.
Little knowledge. Okay.
हाँ.
Little knowledge वाले क्या करेंगे?
ठीक है, topic
बताओ
बस
हो
full
गई.
form पता है. Okay.
फुल फॉर्म तो लिखा ही
0.2.
है स्लाइड में.
मिक्स्ड रिस्पांस है.
Comedy.
0.9.
कार्तिक तेरा नाम देख रखा है मैंने. 0.2
Comedy.
कर रहा है
बाइनरी से हम
comedy
लोग फजी लॉजिक में घुस रहे. 0.2 0.5 तो
Google
काफी
Summer
नो
of
है।
Code. Exactly, right. तो जिन लोगों को पता है उनके लिए मैं थोड़ा और फ्लेक्स कर देता हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारे पास भी एक जीसॉकर बैठे हुए हैं। ये एकदम सुंदर बालों वाले देवादित्य पाल सर। He's a GSOCer who did his GSOC in 2021. So the entire purpose of the GSOC bootcamp was to provide a platform where people who have already done GSOC, जिन्होंने GSOC कर रखा है, उनको पता है कि क्या issues face होते हैं, कैसे करते हैं, how to go about and how to solve problems, to meet with people who are actually interested in doing it and bring them together. ठीक है? It helps them extremely well, क्योंकि तुम्हारे mentor ने जो pitfalls face करे हैं, you can improve on them, right? You need someone to help you out because GSOC के scale से काफी लोग डर जाते हैं, and many people are not even willing to participate just because they're hesitant. Mentors solve this roadblock, and this session that we're talking about, the GSOC bootcamp, is actually going on right now for the second years. It started in last week of December and is also currently going on and would be ending soon. So just goes to show that the GDC is active in terms of sessions. Moving on.
Moving on. Now, Anant will tell you how do we conduct all these sessions. Okay.
Right. जैसे अगर तुम फिजिकल मोड में सोचो, अगर कॉलेज में होते, काश काश कॉलेज में होते, तो तुम्हें रूम्स में बैठा के लिटरली ऐसे अच्छे सेशन लेते जहाँ पे तुम्हारा हैंड लाइक वन ऑन वन इंटरेक्शन होता सीनियर्स के साथ, बट अभी वो पॉसिबल नहीं है. ठीक है. सो व्हाट वी डू इज वी डू दिस ऑन द वर्चुअल प्लेटफॉर्म. एंड हाउ डू वी गो अबाउट डूइंग इट? The first thing you need to know is the primary means of communication, because हमसे बात ही नहीं कर पाओगे तो क्या ही कर लोगे, right? You need to get access to GDSC. That is through the official GDSC Discord server. तुम्हारे पास मेल में भी लिंक आई होगी सर्वर की, एंड ऑल्सो व्हाट्सएप मैसेज में भी आया था, बट जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ इट, could someone from the core team also drop the link in the description, like now, in the chat box? Also, as you can see on the screen, Gmeet for sessions less than 90 participants. Because कुछ sessions ऐसे होंगे that is targeted to a specific audience, right? Maybe only first years, or maybe let's say only second years, or maybe even let's say third years, right? So the scope would be less, like कम लोग रहेंगे उन sessions के लिए वहाँ पे. So we tend to do them on Gmeet because it supposedly lets people, and we are the Google Developer Student Club, so apt. It's pretty apt, I suppose. In case the number exceeds the limit for Gmeet, then we tend to do them on either a YouTube live stream or similar to this on Microsoft Teams, whichever is convenient. Also, you don't need to get tensed about how you will get to know about sessions, when these are being held. I don't want to miss out a GDSC session. You don't need to worry about it. If you register to the GDSC page, then you'll always get automatic emails. You'll always know when the session is, and we'll also be sending you mails and reminder messages as well. Now, I know for a fact that, again, also answer in the chat, how many of you know what GitHub is? Ever heard of GitHub maybe? I'm pretty sure I'm going to see a streamer once, right?
Oh, nice.
I thought so.
Oh, some people know, some don't.
Some people don't. That's not a problem. So if I had to sum up GitHub for those that don't know in just about 2 minutes, and this is a very abstract, okay, don't go my word, I'm just giving you a very basic overview of what GitHub is, right? Let's say तुम्हारे पास सिस्टम है, तुम्हारे पास 40 GB की हार्ड डिस्क है, तुमने उसमें 30 GB का एक प्रोजेक्ट बना रखा है, अब वो डन है, तुमको उसको जिंदगी में कभी नहीं छूना, ठीक है? दिस इज वेरी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट अगेन. 30 GB का स्टोरेज है, अब वो वेस्ट हो रही है ना, you're not going to work on it. So what do? You want to get rid of that. You want to like save it somewhere else. So तुम क्लाउड पे सेव करने के बारे में सोच सकते हो. So that's exactly what GitHub is. It's technically like a storage for code, but on the cloud, similar to Google Drive for code, right? Does that help? No?
One in the chat.
One. Okay. At least it helped one person. That's more than enough for me. Moving on.
One more thing that I'd like to add about GitHub here, Anand,
Okay.
is GitHub you can also use to share your code to the world. So you must have heard about open source. And if someone has heard about open source, then you know that GitHub is the place for it, right? So there's that. And also you can, collab. Someone should collab. So
and
GitHub can be
contribute.
also used
GitHub
for
is going to be the
collab.
biggest like platform for you guys to showcase. Like that's one
Right.
thing for
Yes.
sure. Like that's the
Not
biggest
collab,
platform,
but
bigger than LinkedIn, bigger than Twitter. That's what I believe. Like, yeah, that's my
Also, I'm
personal
pretty
opinion.
sure when you start a developer journey, Git and GitHub is pretty much the first thing you learn anyways.
GitLab.
GitHub versus GitLab is something that is out of the scope for this session, but maybe in a future tech talk, like we said.
Yeah.
You can say that
So,
GitHub and GitLab both are version control softwares, nothing else. Kind of thing.
Right.
yes. So now continue the session.
So with GDSC Triple ITM, you get to collaborate, learn, and grow. Now, who will be teaching and managing everything? We have a whole core team. Hmm.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Harshil Mendapra from 2020 IIMT batch. I am currently residing in Surat, Gujarat, and I am the current GDSC Triple ITM chapter's design lead. In terms of in technical terms, I am well versed in the field of web development and related technologies. Feel free to ping me if you have any doubts regarding this.
Yeah.
Also,
Hey,
wait.
hey everyone. Good evening. This is Sai Charit. I'm from second year and I'm from Telangana. I'm also a design head at GDSC IIITM Gwalior. Me and Harshil, we generally look after the design and creative matters of the event at GDSC. And my technical interests lie at web development, and I'm also exploring blockchain. So if you have anything to discuss about them, feel free to contact me. Yeah, thank you.
Also, I forgot to describe my tech domains. So I'm a full stack web developer, but I specialize in machine learning. So if you ever need help, ping me, or even better, ping Devasa directly.
Moving
So,
forward.
hello everyone. I am Aditya, and currently I am the event lead at GDSC IIITM Gwalior, wherein I am responsible for organizing the events. Talking about my hobbies, so I am a chess player. मैंने भी काफी लोगों के interests में chess देखा, so obviously I hope to see a few of you on the chessboard later on. And I love binging shows and listening music. So now coming on to my technical interest, I specialize in web development and React Native. I also do a bit of competitive programming. So yes, you can always ping me for any doubt. We are always there to help you guys out.
So, hey everyone, this is Ananya. I am also an event lead along with Aditya, and we ensure that the events are conducted smoothly. I enjoy interesting conversations, problem solving, reading, and writing, and you can always contact me for any of the first two interests of mine. I am open to conversations. Thank you.
So I'm okay. So as you know me, I'm Anamika, and talking about my technical interest, I'm into development and cloud security. Mm, Nirupama.
I don't think she's present in this meet, right?
Okay,
Since
so
she's
she.
facing some technical issues, no worries. You can actually interact with her later on, and I actually hope to see you guys on Discord later, interacting with us.
Yeah.
But let's just get this. And also, as a matter of fact, everyone that introduced themselves right now are the second year of GDSC, right? And in the coming event, the next event that is going to happen like in just about 2 minutes, you're going to get to know about the third years as well. But before that, I would like to ask all of you if you have any questions regarding this orientation.
Regarding GDSC as a whole.
Right? Yes. Regarding
Yeah,
Yeah.
GDS as a
Any
GDSC
whole,
as a whole.
questions
anything
regarding the
that
club?
So
we
there
might
was a
have
question
skipped
asked
over,
that how
forgot.
can we get into this club earlier on.
Hmm.
So
Uh,
Manisha, would you like to take up that question?
yes, yes. So to join the club, there are some steps that you need to follow. First of all, is to join the GDS, like join the chapter on GDSC platform. I think someone can share the link for that in the chat. Just go there, sign up, and join. Okay. And the second step is obviously to join the Discord server, where you like it's the primary place for the community members to discuss uh, things among themselves. And that's it. Then you are part of the GDSC Triple ITM Club.
अनंत सर
Let's
हेडफोन
not
कितने के
take
लिए?
any questions
डिस्कॉर्ड पे आके करते हैं बाद में. अभी
other,
सेशन में फोकस करो.
other than GDSC.
Does development mean web
Is that GDSC
development?
regarding just development in web development in the coming
So someone asked
event
that
that is
is
discover your domain that is going to happen like 2 minutes. You'll get to know that.
Is Linux
development doesn't
important for
matter.
GSOC, as someone had told me? So
Linux
No.
का the thing is, अभी तो you guys will just get introduced to coding first, but when you're a bit more comfortable with coding languages,
Discord
you'll
link.
slowly move on
Somebody
to
shared
making new
probably.
stuff.
I'll share the response.
So you'll see that Linux is actually much easier for development in general, not just GSOC or anything like that. You'll want to use Linux after a point.
इधर कितने लोग ऑलरेडी लिनक्स यूज कर रहे हैं अभी?
Electric.
और VS कोड का इंस्टॉलेशन हो गया क्या तुम लोगों का?
आई थिंक इन लोगों का एसएफ सेशन लेने वाला है कोई सी या सी प्लस प्लस का, आई गेस उसमें वो लोग शायद करवा दें, क्योंकि
VS कोड वन
या
लिनक्स.
ठीक है, अभी देखो, don't force yourselves to get into Linux right away because Linux can be a bit overwhelming as an operating system. Take your time, पहले अच्छे से कोडिंग वोडिंग सब एकदम मस्त सीख लो, ठीक है? Then when you're comfortable in development, when you're feeling like यार Windows में ये सब करना is too difficult because Windows में actually doing things are very difficult. Like random time पे updates आ जाते हैं, then everything goes to hell, everything needs to be changed again, so it's a nightmare. But
He's
Linux पे
speaking
वो
from
सब चीजें,
personal experience, by the way.
हाँ मतलब ये हुआ है मेरे साथ. एज इन मैं प्रोजेक्ट के बीच में था, सडनली ऐसा पूरा स्क्रीन ब्लू होके बोलता है कि माइक्रोसॉफ्ट नीड्स टू इंस्टॉल दिस अपडेट राइट नाउ, एंड आई इंस्टॉल द
एंड
अपडेट
अरे
एंड देन my thing
there is
stopped
something,
working.
path dependencies
yeah, there is
path
something
dependencies
called
सब
blue
जो
screen
होता
of
है बस.
death on Microsoft Windows. Like, have anyone heard of it? Like the blue screen of death. I mean,
It's called
अभी ये
BSOD,
लोग वन वन में आंसर
yeah.
करेंगे.
I mean,
yeah, तो
dude, if you have some older system and तुम उससे Windows पे तुम कर रहे हो and मतलब वो कभी भी एक sad face बना के आ जाएगा, oh we need to restart this system for you, we don't give a hell about your projects or whether you have saved it or not, we're gonna restart it for you, like, yeah. So yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think the next question is what about Mac? So I'll answer that question. So the reason Linux is so famous in development is actually because of its command line, the terminal, and coincidentally, like the terminal of the Mac and terminal of Linux are around 90% same. Okay, so all the things that you experience in Linux terminal, you will do the same in Mac. So if you have Mac, you don't have to worry. It will fulfill your purpose. Don't worry. Only if you
also
have
an
Windows
interesting
laptop.
question in chat ki what is the difference between DSC and ESF?
ASF. Yeah.
I thought we were
So
expecting this question, right, Manish?
Yeah.
yes, sir. So
Everyone, what?
I'll answer that in, like, clearly, so that we, like, guys here will know that why ASF is there and why DSF is there. Okay, so ASF like is the oldest technical club in our college, right? It has been for around 10 years. And GDSC is a program that has been started by Google for the past 3 years. Okay. So there is a reason why ASF and GDSC are both here, because GDSC is something that Google selected a lead from our college, and ASF is something that has been started by the people from our college itself. Okay. Now, yeah, regarding the purpose of ASF and GDSC, the primary purpose of ASF is to promote everything in the technical as well as managerial side. Okay, it's a techno managerial club, right? You must have heard about it. But the GDSC is more focused toward development and Google technologies. So it's a more specific part of learning and that GDSC aims, but like ASF aims for overall development. I think you can say that. And now the question, one of them asked, can one be a part of ASF and GDSC both? So both have so both are community-based clubs. So obviously, the moment you entered into this college, you are a part of both. Okay. Right. Yeah. So there's that. Any other questions apart from this?
देखो नारेबाजी बंद करो पहले.
How to
सेशन पे
become a
फोकस
core
करते हैं.
member of
फैन बेस
GDSC?
अलग फैन बेस चल रही है इधर.
Okay. How to become a core member of GDSC? So the applications for core member will start from next year actually. That is what is August 2022. When Google will select the next lead for JDSC Triple IT. Okay. So that's when you will get a chance to become a core member.
Also, to answer the question that I just saw, does GDSC teach cloud computing? Well, we do. We actually hold a
Yes.
session that is officiated by Google that is known as 30 Days of Google Cloud. And we actually talked about it, but then again, yes, we do. In short, we do.
Yeah, Google Cloud is something that we focus greatly on. And the question is, GDSC will help us in coding. So yeah, Avino, regarding this question, I'd like to say that as you know, that GDSC's full form is Google Developer Student Clubs. So we are actually primarily focused on the development side of things rather than the competitive coding or the problem solving kind of thing. Okay. So obviously you can come up with any coding questions you have to our core team on the Discord, but the sessions that we'll conduct will not be focused on that part. Okay. And Google doesn't select the core team. Google selects the lead, and the lead will select the core team. So technically, essentially, I was selected by Google, and then I selected all these people that you see in the core team. That's what happened. Okay.
Someone asked, do we get free Firebase? Firebase already have a free tier. Like
Yeah.
you can use Firebase, and it's so generous. So yeah, you don't. Yeah.
You will receive Google Cloud credits for
Credits.
learning when the
Yeah.
30 days happen, but you won't get for personal gains. Okay.
But Firebase is something that you can use for your
Yes,
personal
Firebase
projects,
is
and it
free.
is
It has
free. It
a
is so much generous. Yeah.
How much time does it require to learn coding? Depends on how much time you're willing to put in.
I don't think like they see coding and development are things which you cannot learn completely in your lifetime. So
Yeah.
you just the right question that you should ask is how much time does it require for someone to be good in coding, not learn coding. Okay, after Java, Kotlin. Aman, we will answer that question later.
Also,
Do
not to
we get?
like interrupt the fun, but
Yes.
just to let you know, we also have another event plan that is actually a
Yes.
much more important event for you guys than
Oh
the
my,
orientation session that is going on.
Yeah.
Anant, I
So
have a message for
अनंत
you.
सर चैट सेक्शन देख रहे हैं आप?
Just took my breath away.
so
क्या चल रहा
now
है ये?
let's
This is
let's
getting too
continue to
out
the
of
next
scope.
session. Actually, Anand.
Let's move on to the next part that is of much more importance to you. Like तुम्हारे साथ ऐसा जरूर हुआ होगा कि तुमने किसी सीनियर से इंटरेक्ट करने की कोशिश की हो और जिन जूनियर से मेरे साथ इंटरेक्ट करा है, सॉरी मैंने भी तुम्हारे साथ ही करा है, मैंने बस इतना बोला होगा कि एक्सप्लोर करो डोमेन्स को, ठीक है? मैंने तुमको और कुछ डिटेल में नहीं बताया होगा कि क्या एक्सप्लोर करना है, कैसे एक्सप्लोर करना है, ठीक है? आई एम सॉरी फॉर दैट, बट दिस इज एग्जैक्टली व्हाट दिस इवेंट इज फॉर. तुम एक्सप्लोर करना तभी स्टार्ट करोगे ना जब तुम्हें पता होगा कि क्या एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए और कहाँ तक कितना एक्सप्लोर करना है. व्हाट्स अ डोमेन एंटायरली अबाउट. And as you already know that we have a lot of tech heads with us that specialize in these different domains. So they're here to host this
Anand,
event for you.
sorry to interrupt. Can we take one last question?
Sure, go ahead.
Were any one of you complete amateurs in your first year, or did you have prior experience knowledge which helped you get into the core team? So that's related to GDSC selection. So Manish sir.
I
We
think
all
ये
are
juniors answer मतलब second year answer करेगा ना. मैं
Right.
lead हो भाई मैं कोटिंग
Also in terms of like ability to join, it's not only about like if you join the GDSC, it's not like you're coding all the time. It's not an internship or job. Okay. What you're supposed to do is hold these events, these sessions for your juniors. That's the point of joining the GDSC. So coding ability is not a major part of what it's supposed to be. So anyone can join. When the
By the
forms
way,
come out,
first year
anyone
में
can
सब
join.
लोग amateurs ही आते हैं यार, ऐसा कोई वो नहीं है. मतलब अब थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, सीख लोगे तुम लोग भी.
Yeah. So I think Anand move it with the
हाँ, now we can move it.
Sure.
So yeah, the first domain, I think there is, you can see there is my name on the slide. So the first domain that we are going to discuss here is cloud computing. Give me a minute, actually. Yeah, actually, sorry for the noise. Yeah, so the first event that we the first domain that I'm going to discuss about is the cloud computing part. So first of all, hello again, everyone. I'm Manish Kumar, the GDSC lead and the cloud computing head here. Now, what do you know about cloud computing? So, in short, I'll ask you a question. Like, I'll give you like what happened a decade and a half ago. Is that if you wanted to set up your own website, the first thing that you have to do is to buy the computers, the physical computers, the hardwares on your own, connect them to the internet through a cable, and take care of the electricity, cooling, etc., maintenance. And after that, only you can code and deploy a web application. Right. So the modern cloud computing technologies take all that hassle away, and with them, you can spin up computers of basically any power, any RAM in minutes, right? And you will pay for only the amount of time that you will use those computers for. Okay. Yeah, actually, guys, I try to focus on this part actually because this will be the thing that will be actually useful for you rather than the club intro. Okay, so try to focus on this that what cloud computing is, and like what I told you basically is cloud computing gives you the power to use someone else's computer by paying for the time that you're using that computer. That's it. Okay, that's the basic gist of cloud computing. Some of the major cloud computing providers that are there, which you can go and learn, are Google Cloud Platform, GCP, that we also have a 30-day session for every year. And then there is Amazon Web Services, and there's also Microsoft Azure. So this Teams application that you're seeing is actually hosted on Microsoft Azure, right? And just another thing that I like, the last thing I'd like to say in this introduction is the cloud computing part is actually the highest paying job in the current IT industry. So believe me, if you learn cloud computing to its end, you will be rich. Yes. Uh, so
Flex again,
uh,
flex.
yeah. So
Subtle flex,
like
And
but
I
solid.
before,
agree to that. Matlab, yeah, I will just add, I agree. You learn cloud computing, you have a DevOps profile, you will be the highest paying person. And
yeah.
uh,
So
and I don't need to talk about Manish now, like how rich he is or not. Okay, let's sorry.
yeah. So before moving to the next domain, let the juniors ask any questions they have regarding this. So go ahead, ask any doubts that you have, like regarding cloud computing, how to learn, how to move into cloud computing. No questions. So is AWS, are they like subscription-based services? They are pay as you use services, Karthikeya. So the amount of services that you use, that's what you'll pay. There is no subscription basis. So let's suppose you use a computer for 30 minutes, then you'll pay for 30 minutes. Is coding necessary for it? No, Nikhil, no. Coding is complete opposite of what cloud computing is actually. So it's a
Yeah.
more the system design thing rather than coding. This is more of mathematics based or language based. No, this is more of architecture based. So you don't need to learn a language, you don't need to learn the math. What you need to know is how to connect things and how good they should connect. And basically, the other part is the network part. And so you not need to know that in cloud computing. Cloud computing and website designing same? No. Cloud computing is the part where you actually deploy the application so that people can use that. And website designing is the coding part. So they both work together. What is the first step to learn cloud computing and how to learn cloud computing? Okay, so the first step is obviously I will say is go ahead, go on Quick Labs. So the most friendly cloud computing platform out there is the Google Cloud platform. And you can go ahead and click Quick Labs, sign up, and then take their first lab that is creating a virtual machine. Okay. So go ahead, try that. You'll create your first virtual machine on the cloud that will be basically a computer sitting on cloud which you can access through at a computer terminal. So it will have all the instructions, all the knowledge in it. So you can go and do that. What are the prerequisites for learning cloud computing? I would say a little bit of knowledge in Linux. Okay, terminal based knowledge should be helpful in cloud computing, because the computers that will be spinning up in cloud, they can only be connected through, what do you say, remote terminal. So a little bit of knowledge of that is good. Uh, what should a beginner learn before learning cloud computing? As I said, just yes, go ahead and try Quick Labs, a lab of Quick Labs. Go ahead and try it. Roadmap of cloud computing. Aman, we will send the resources regarding the roadmap, everything by the end of today. Uh, so
Actually, the resources are available on the Discord server, right?
I think so. Yeah, resources are already there in the previous chats. You can go ahead and access them. But if you want, if you guys want, we can also compile a list and send it to you. Different things that we can do with cloud computing. So it's like website hosting, application hosting, machine learning processing. So this is one good thing, that in machine learning you require GPUs, right? And not all of you have like good computers with good GPUs. So you can leverage Google Cloud to do your training part. I think Devaditya has done that in his first year, right? He has used Google Cloud to basically train his models. What language used in cloud computing? Aman, as I said, there is not, language doesn't matter. The architecture part matters. Okay. I am currently learning web dev, but I got distracted after. Does cloud computing comes under full stack development? No. Full stack development means developing backend and front end. Cloud computing means taking those backend front end parts, combining them, and then making it publicly available. So the teams.microsoft.com that you've joined on, so the reason why it's available on your computer is because cloud computing. Okay, there is that circle. Yeah, I think I've covered all the questions in the chat. There are lots of no clue about how exactly can we learn about these things, and exactly can we know about these things are. Yeah, so Shivam, that's why we are here, right? So first thing is like what we are doing in this Discover Your Domain event is we are giving an overview of all the major domains right now in the IT industry. And the next step that you need to do is, now since you know about these parts and what exactly they do and what exactly you will achieve in them, and then you can go ahead and try some of the research that will provide in, like, again, as I said, in the mail that we'll send today. And after that, you can come with us, like come to us, ping us on Discord, on email IDs of ours regarding any doubts that you have, and we will help you. Okay. There's that. Yeah, hacking, Abhishek, we will cover in the end, like cybersecurity stuff. So it's a very niche topic, at least right now. So yeah. So I think we can move to the next domain.
Yeah. So, hello guys. My name is Devaditya. Can you guys hear me properly? Like, am I audible?
Yes,
Hopefully, I
Yes,
am.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
please.
you are.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So, if some of you guys are definitely from CBSE and ICSE boards, right? And like most of these school boards have coding to some extent in their high school level. So, like a definition for code back in school days was code was defined as a strict set of instructions for the computer to follow. Like if you want to implement something, you tell the computer what to do, and that itself is basically code. You telling the computer what to do. But this is where artificial intelligence and machine learning is trying to change the world. It's like, what if we don't tell the computer what to do? What if the computer learns that by itself? We just show it how to learn. Like instead of telling the computer explicitly that do this step, perform this step after this step, you just let the computer learn by itself. So AI is trying to mimic human like intelligence. Like intelligence is like, what is intelligence? Basically, whenever anything somebody does makes a decision and has a proper reasoning behind making that decision, we can say that that entity is intelligent. So what we are basically trying to do is we are trying to mimic human like intelligence but in computers. So I think some of you might have watched the Terminator movies with robots and all. So they are all prime examples of artificial intelligence. You use AI in your everyday life. Google Maps, the fastest route, that's AI again. Amazon Alexa, that's AI. So if you think about it, we're all surrounded with AI and we don't realize it that much, but AI is actually everywhere. Additionally, it's also the coolest sounding specialization. Like when you talk to people about, oh yeah, I'm just doing my specialization in artificial intelligence, they think like you're some big hotshot. And when it comes to data science, like data science is again a part of artificial intelligence. It's again like Mani said, data science is also one of the highest paying jobs in like the entirety of the IT field. So like it might sound really interesting right now, but I want to discourage you a little bit. It's going to be a bit weird since I'm supposed to encourage you, but I'm going to discourage you a little bit in the sense that don't just jump into AI and ML because of the hype. Because a lot of people think that's it's a very trendy subject. It's going to be the bomb in a couple of years. So don't jump on AI like that. AI has a couple of prerequisites. You need to love math. You need to love linear algebra. You need to love calculus. If you like math, okay, you don't need to know coding at all. If you just like math, then you're perfect for AI. Okay, you can go ahead with AI. And that's basically it. AI is actually very simple. It's just linear algebra and differential calculus, not even integration. I can't do integration myself, so I'm not even going to go into that. So it's just differentiation and linear algebra. That's it. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, it's this is it. Like it has a huge scope of research. I don't know how many of you guys know about what research is. Research is basically like some problems exist in this world which haven't been solved yet. Like there haven't been solutions to some problems in the world, and many people all over the world are trying to figure out solutions to these problems. So that is basically, well, research. Yeah, like cancer detection. Like how do you efficiently detect if a tumor is malignant or cancerous? You need to do a biopsy, but what if you didn't have to do such an invasive procedure? What if you could just take a picture and the computer could decide it for you? Probability and PNC, yes, definitely. Another huge uh, part of artificial intelligence is probability and permutation combination to not that extent, but probability and statistics has a huge role to play. So yeah, any questions about AI? A couple of things like Manish said that AI needs you guys to use GPUs because usually the type of algorithms we use in AI, they're very computationally expensive. Like they're very slow, very sluggish, take a lot of time to run. So you need a graphics processing unit, also known as a graphics card. NVIDIA makes those. Also AMD Radeon, I think, to some extent. So yeah, you don't need to worry about if you don't have a good graphics card because like Manish said, cloud computing is available for everyone. You can just get a graphics card on the internet and use it for your purposes. Is data science and data analytics any difference or is one part of the other? Uh, they are different, but they support each other. So data science is all about generating data. Like you mine data, you make uh, combine data and make something new. That is data science. data analysis or data analytics is inferring information from this data. A easy way to explain this would be, let's say, advertisements, right? You're watching TV and between cartoons or shows, you get advertisements. So how does a company know that what time would be the perfect time for the company to place the advertisement, such as so that the maximum amount of audience can look at it? So that is where the analytics part comes in. Fetching that data is a part of data science, but making sure that that data or that time frame is what the company needs, that's a part of data analytics. Okay, I went on a pretty long monologue. I'm sorry for that. So yeah, I love maths, new to coding, how to start AI. So what I did was I started with math based AI. Okay, I didn't know how to code AI for a pretty long time. There's this amazing course on Coursera called Machine Learning. It's by Stanford University, and a professor called Andrew Ng takes the course. He is like he's an excellent instructor, and that is the gold standard for all newcomers into AI. If you want a proper good head start, you should definitely do that course.
I would like to add on to it. You can also, like, for a start, you can watch the CS50 Harvard course. It's available on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's really good.
The CS50 is also an amazing course. It's from Harvard. Yeah. Traveling salesman problem. Traveling salesman
Yeah.
problem isn't really an AI based problem. It's more of a different class of algorithmic problems. But I won't get into that right now. Maths like in the basic level. Yeah, if you know that x square ka differentiation is 2x, and if you know how to solve x plus y equal to 3 and x minus y equal to 5, then congratulations, you can do AI. Data science, maths, new to AI. Google Cloud, Tensor Cores. Yeah, Google is doing an amazing job at providing GPUs. If I'm great at math, if I'm interested in AI ML, is it possible for me to? Yeah, obviously. Like, what are the two things that determine your success? It's your drive and your aptitude. If you're great at math, you have aptitude. If you're interested, then you have drive. So you're gonna be great at it, dude. If I'm not that great at math, Achha, not that great. Okay, that changed. Sorry, my bad. If you're not that great at math, what happens is, when I was in my high school, when I was doing my prep for JE, right, I was horrible at math. Okay, I just didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know why I was doing that math. It all seemed very weird. Like, the types of questions I was asked in high school, like if A equals this and B equals this, then prove LHS equal to RHS. I just didn't understand what's the point of solving all these problems. And practically, they are pretty pointless problems. They have zero industrial application, zero real life application. It's just bad. So that is not the math I'm talking about. When you're going to learn AI, you're going to be learning very basic math, but you're going to be seeing the direct applications of that math in real life. So it's really easy to pick up. Do not worry about not being great at math. Like, I wasn't great at math, but well, here we are. Can we take up the course now? Yeah, sure, you can go ahead with the course if you want to, but don't take it right now because we're having a GDSC session. If you're talking about now. Coursera along with institute work. Okay, couple of incendiary statements coming. So when we enter college from our school, there's certain things that you guys need to realize. Is that academic work is important, yes, but only academic work is not going to take you very far in the industry. So college will teach you the basics and the theoretical aspects of a subject, but they won't really prepare you for an industrial application based problems. So you have to sort of teach yourself about the industrial aspects. Like, that's why we are hosting this, so that you know, like, these are the various fields that are available for you to take up. So yeah, it can we do, it's more like you have to do Coursera along with institution work. Like, not just Coursera, any course, any self-study, documentation reading, anything. But you will have to do something or the other along with your institute. You cannot just focus on your college studies, because that is a recipe for disaster.
So you're missing out on one question. Is this R.O. Srivastav asked, is it
Yeah.
true that Python is the language most closely associated with ML and AI?
Yeah, it is true to some extent, as in about 60 to 70% of the applications being coded in AI/ML use Python. The others use C++ and C simply because Python is slow and C++ is hugely fast. So, uh, but I personally feel development in C++ to be a bit confusing. I'm pretty dumb, so please excuse me. Yeah, I stick to Python because it's really easy to write code in Python. Okay, I can't write code in C++ even if my life depended on it. Python necessary? Not necessary, but learning Python is really easy. Okay, you don't need to worry about Python. Like Python is basically English at this point.
Yeah, I think you can tell them about Julia too, like it's growing right?
Oh yeah, so there's a new kid on the block. So Python has been ruling the industry for quite some time now, but there's this new language that has been developed by MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's called Julia. What it tries to do is it tries to be as simple to write as Python, but also tries to be as fast as C and C++. So the combination of the best aspects of both C++ and Python is Julia. So this is a language that is rapidly gaining popularity in AI and ML. So a lot of people are like shifting to Julia and stuff. So yeah, you guys can go ahead, take a look at Julia as well, but I would still recommend कि just start with Python. Python से शुरू करना is like it makes everything much easier. I am okay with math, but really weak in probability. So can I take AI and ML? Uh, like again, you think that you're weak in probability. Like who judged you, bhai? Like किसने तुमको बोला है कि you're weak at probability? That's a self assessment. Like probably you didn't score good marks in school in probability test, तो तुमको लगा होगा कि यार probability is मतलब मेरे it's not my cup of tea, मेरे से नहीं होगा. But again, like you haven't been judged properly on your math skills ever. Trust me. All the exams you gave till now, including joint entrance examination, JEE mains, does not matter. Like they aren't a good judge of your mathematical skills at all. Okay? So do not worry about that. Just try doing it. If you feel like you're having fun, okay, you will be amazing at it. Any opinion about IIT Madras online BSc in data science? I haven't done it, but if it's a BSc, it's probably going to take up a lot of your time. So just think before you apply for the project. I think तुम्हारे second year से a lot of people applied for it, if I remember correctly. Anant, do you remember some people? I think some of you guys applied for it, no?
Not many, to be honest. Not many.
But
if you want, like if anyone is interested, please ping me on Discord and I will look for the people. I actually do know a few, but it's very far and few between. But I'll look what I can dig up.
3 years course है. हाँ, तो 3 years का course है. मतलब तुम सोच के देखो, you guys are here in like IIITM for like 4 years or 5 years depending on your course. उसमें से 3 years का time you're already devoting. That's a huge मतलब chunk of time to be devoting to something. ठीक है? So don't make hasty decisions. अच्छे से पहले understand कि हाँ मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ. If you're absolutely sure, only then go for it. Can we start learning AWS? ये तो मनीष का question है. Manish, you want to take that up?
No, there is no prerequisite required. As I said in cloud computing now.
General doubt of when a fan company or good startup hires from campus, what skills like?
We'll come back to the general questions after we finish off with the program.
Let's classify each question to domain specific and general. General questions जितना भी है after the session पूछ लेना. Like we'll be there for a Q&A session. ठीक है? हम लोग बहुत वेले हैं यार. कोई काम नहीं है जिंदगी में. हम लोग बैठे रहेंगे. टेंशन मत लो.
आज तो सैटरडे ईव है.
आज तो सैटरडे ईव है भाई. आज और भी काम नहीं है. So अभी जो जितना डोमेन स्पेसिफिक चीजें पूछना है ना, अभी डोमेन स्पेसिफिक चीजों पे बात कर लेते, क्योंकि मेरे फर्स्ट ईयर में भी ये प्रॉब्लम हुआ था कि द जनरल गाइडेंस जो सीनियर से मिलता था हम लोगों को भी वाज एक्सप्लोर डोमेन्स, बट पता ही नहीं रहता है कि यार डोमेन्स क्या है, कि एक्सप्लोर क्या करे, मतलब ठीक है एक्सप्लोर करना है, ओके यस वी विल एक्सप्लोर, बट व्हाट, ठीक है। तो इसीलिए वी आर ट्राइंग टू होस्ट दिस सो दैट वी टेल यू अबाउट कि क्या क्या डोमेन्स एग्जिस्ट करते हैं दैट यू कैन एक्सप्लोर। सो या okay, web development, so I guess we've covered AI and we can move on to the next
One last
event.
question: data science and engineering difference.
Difference between data science and data engineering. Oh, they are honestly not that different also. It's just a very matlab, semantic difference. A data science is like uh, it involves data analysis to some part, it involves fetching the data. Data engineering is like cleaning the data, like data जो रहता है ना, real world data is very noisy, like it's very hard to get proper data, like humans do a lot of stuff, and if you take a data from a data dump, you'll find a lot of useful stuff and lot of not useful stuff as well.
It's more
So
like
data
instead of data, it's like information. You take that information and you convert it to usable data. That's what it
exactly.
entails.
So data engineering is that you remove everything that is not useful, you try to figure out what could be useful and try to find out sources to get that useful data, so that is data engineering. Anyway, if you're going to be doing AI or ML, you'll have to do everything sort of, okay? So the differences won't really matter. You will be doing data science, you will be doing data analysis, and you'll be doing data engineering also, so utna matter nahi karta. Should we start with C or C++? If you're gonna start with a C based language, you can start with anything like C Civ you can start, C++ Civ you can start. Otherwise Python Civ. Like these three languages are like good basic building blocks: C, C++, Python. Anyway, that's not. We are done with AI. I don't want to hog up too much time क्योंकि बाकी लोगों को भी I guess time चाहिए होगा. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Mhm. So guys, hello, my name is Swarnim Gupta and I'm the Android head of DSC-IIITM chapter. So we'll be talking about here we'll be talking about Android development, we'll be talking about iOS development, cross-platform application development as well. Okay. So we've always been using mobile apps a lot in our daily life, right? And in this past COVID scenes, the use has already been increased a lot. So I think be it for entertainment purpose, be it for development, we all use apps a lot, be it for matrimonial purposes too, maybe. So yeah. So before moving any further, let's talk about how these applications came into existence and even how Android came into existence, right? So there is a consortium called Open Handset Alliance, OHA, which developed the Android for the very first time. And Google sponsored it initially and then acquired the whole company, right? Acquiring doesn't mean that they bought the company or something. It's like mm, they are the major contributor of Android, and uh, like Android is open source operating system, right? So Android is openly available in the GitHub and it's open source. So all of you can see the code of Android operating system, and it's based on the Linux kernel foundation, right? So this is the layered environment and it's based on Linux kernel environment. Okay. Moving on, let's see about our Chintu guy. You have all listened about that made the app in the very starting, and now the investors are investing in the app. So if Chintu guy can do, why can't we? Let's see how are the different ways to develop an app. Okay, so there are two ways to develop a mobile app. One is native, and other one is the cross-platform app. Okay, so native one is uh, for native, we use different languages for Android and iOS. So for Android, we use Java and Kotlin, and for iOS, we use Swift or Objective C. Though Objective C uh, is not in use very much, and similarly for Java, because Kotlin has been officially announced as the programming language for Android in 2017, and kinda Objective C is also degrading. So Swift is being used a lot in iOS development. And talking about cross-platform, React Native, we use JavaScript for making React Native apps, and Dart programming language for Flutter. So basically, the difference between making a native app and a cross-platform app is like in native app we directly can you can say talk to device hardware and uh, APIs that Android platform or iOS platform provides us. Whereas in cross-platform, we are kinda doing development in our language, and under the hood, React Native or Flutter is doing the part of going for Android or iOS. So this is the major difference. And if you want to develop a very high speed or very complex app, you must go for native development, because this is the only way we can develop a very high speed app and a very complex app. Okay, and uh, yeah, this was all it about development of native and cross platform. So we can move on to the questions if there's any. Is game development a part of Android development? Kind of, but no.
Actually, game development is like a much more broader kind of development. Like if you want to do game development, uske liye alag se, like you have a different tech stack for that whole thing. There are different events. GitHub का game jam होता है, Microsoft का game jam होता है, so वो सब
Use
करना पड़ेगा
Unity,
उसके
right?
लिए. हाँ, Unity and all that.
So different tech stack and stuff.
I think there's a question, which one do you prefer, Java or Kotlin? So as Swarnim said, like Kotlin is an announced as the official language for Android. So obviously, like if
Yeah,
you're doing development currently,
you
you
should
prefer
go
to
for
put
Kotlin
Kotlin.
if you are going for native development, right? You should go for Kotlin.
Use of
Use of
cross-platform.
cross-platform if complexity is handled by React. What is the use of cross-platform? So basically, in cross-platform, you go for a single code base, and you can develop app for both Android and iOS. So uh, basically, React Native do the coding part behind the under the hood for you, and you can go for Android and iOS by using only single code base. And whereas in native development, you definitely have to hire different developers for Android and iOS. So more expensive, more bigger team for development. Difference between native and cross platform. Yeah, I told you, like I told you before, native is like you really have to be very expert at the language that you are using, because you're solely writing every code with yourself. Like if you are using the API, or if you are using the hardware, device hardware, you solely are writing the code yourself. But in React Native or Flutter, you are provided with the component or the APIs, and you are not going very deep into what's going under it, right? You are just given the component, and there is definitely some you can kind of say a drawback of cross platform, because if you really want to develop a very complex app, you can't develop it using a cross platform. So that's a different thing. Like if I tell you about Airbnb case, they were making a really complex app via React Native, and they invested 2 year in making that app, and then they moved back to native, cause the only reason was they were making it very complex and using different APIs and device hardware and stuff. So since React Native was made public in 2017 for us, and it's continue and it's being into development still. So right, for now, if you really want to make a complex app, you should go for native. Otherwise, cross platform could be for medium to easy one. and Flutter 2 is really very new. So even Flutter came after React Native. So if you are going for Flutter, then there's not much of a videos or tutorials available for you. You'll have to go you'll have to develop things by reading the documentation and stuff. And similar goes for React Native, but still you'll find a lot of stuffs in YouTube or courses about React Native. Can we use React Native later for reconstructing course by after study? Yeah, of course we can do, like if you started with a cross-platform development and you think that there are some the APIs or the hardware that you are not able to access with React Native, you can simply eject your project from cross-platform, and then you can take that project back to their native, the Android Studio, and can start developing it in Java and the Swift as well, and it will work perfectly fine. Ingela, you sorry.
She is a tutor at
Yeah.
Udemy.
Udemy. Yeah.
I think the questions for what do you say? This domain is over, so we can move on to the next one, right? So for
We
beginners,
just
we
showed
should.
it last time. There's nothing like for beginners or something. I'm telling you that Java, even Kotlin and Swift are, the languages are easy, but that's what it is. Like if you really want to go for very complex things, like we can't really talk about it right now, but then we can say that you need to do native. Else you go for cross platform or native, doesn't matter. All it does is cross platform provides you a single code base for different apps like iOS and Android both, whereas native you have to code for Android differently and iOS differently. So they will be having two code base, two developer teams, and it goes on. Tell us the platform to explore. I guess
That's what we are doing. Like, I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're talking about the whether to go for native or cross platform, I would recommend that let your web development course end right, and we'll be having Android Jam session right after it, and you'll be you'll be going through Kotlin, I guess, in the Android Jam session, and you'll be making excellent apps in that session.
Yeah, but
So
Android jams are
let
actually
your
not
so let
scheduled
your
till next year.
Mhm. So let your web development complete first, and you can move to React Native after web development very easily, because React Native use JavaScript again, and JavaScript and React. So the coding is almost similar. All you need to do or understand is about Android and stuff.
So yeah, let's move on to the next domain. Okay, shall we? Ankit, we will take the general questions at the end.
For those who have specific questions, they can ping us anytime, and we'll
Yeah,
be happy to have a conversation with you on the Discord.
yeah. So yeah, Ashil, you can move on to the next slide.
Harshil, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Hello, everyone. Myself, Sakshi Dhameja. I'm the open source head of GDSC-IIITM. Give me a second. So we heard various terms like मेरी आवाज सही आ रही है?
Yes, yes.
Yes,
you're audible.
Yes.
हाँ, cool. We heard various terms Linux, VS Code in this session, and अभी तक तुम्हें समझ में आ गई होगी उसकी importance. VS Code की उतनी नहीं जितनी की Linux की. So these all are open source softwares: Linux, Ubuntu, Firefox, VS Code. तो ये सब ये सब open
Anand, can
source
you present the
software.
presentation right now?
Sure.
Yeah, so continuing while, ये सब open source software है, तो what do you mean by open source? So we'll go by a question answer approach here. काफी times it happens that you are stuck in a project that you are no longer interested in. For example, abhi you are learning about so many domains. You go decide one domain, dive into it and decide that I'll make this project. And halfway into making this project, you're like, मेरे को इसमें interest नहीं आ रहा है. I'll continue on, but I am sure कि मैं इस field को choose नहीं करूँगा. तो ऐसी situation तुम लोगों के साथ अगर अभी तक नहीं आई है तो आगे आ सकती है. काफी chances है. Next, there might be difficulty in keeping up with the latest trends and advancements. So, what I mean here is, for example, जैसे हम कोई सॉफ्टवेयर यूज कर रहे हैं, जैसे अभी स्वर ने मेंशन किया था, रिएक्ट नेटिव अभी करेंटली डेवलप हो रहा है, उसमें कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस हो रहे हैं, तो वो चेंज हो रहा है, उसमें एडवांसमेंट्स आते जा रहे हैं, कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस आते जा रहे हैं. तो हाउ डू वी कीप अप विद द एडवांसमेंट्स, बिकॉज हमारा ऐप एक टाइम के बाद आउटडेट हो जाएगा, क्योंकि उसमें नए फीचर्स ऐड ऑन हो चुके होंगे, तो पुराने फीचर्स आउटडेट हो जाएंगे. सो हाउ डू वी कीप अप विद दैट एडवांसमेंट्स? Another question then, काफी लोगों को होता है कि you like developing but you are not very good with the documentation part. For example, आप कोई इंडस्ट्री के लिए प्रोजेक्ट बना रहे हो, या इंडस्ट्री छोड़ो, अभी हैकेथॉन्स वगैरह में पार्ट लोगे, उसके लिए रेडमी फाइल्स बनाओगे, stuff like that, तो तुम लोग डॉक्यूमेंटेशन में बहुत अच्छे नहीं हो, या तुम्हें कंटेंट में इंटरेस्ट है, कंटेंट राइटिंग में इंटरेस्ट है, क्रिएटिव राइटिंग में इंटरेस्ट है, बट अभी उतना डेवलपमेंट नहीं आता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी तुम फोर्थ ईयर में हो, तुम लोग को उतना नहीं आता है. उस केस में व्हाट टू डू, कि अगर तुम्हें एक चीज में इंटरेस्ट है बट दूसरे में नहीं है, तो अगर तुम्हारे पास कोई ऐप नहीं है तो तुम डॉक्यूमेंट कैसे करोगे, कोई ऐप, एप्लीकेशन, वेब ऐप, एनीथिंग. Or one more that I have personally felt a lot of times, कि you have wonderful ideas for projects but lack in required skill set. Because for example, तुम्हारे पास एक आइडिया आया कि जैसे I'll make a to do app, जो मैं कहीं पे भी काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं क्लास में काम कर रहा हूँ, कुछ भी, एंड सर ने बोला कि ये करना है, तो I'll just click a shift plus this button, I'll add on the note to it, and it will give me return me the list based on my priority, कि मेरा अभी टाइम के बेस पे प्लस प्रायोरिटी के बेस पे कि मैंने किस काम को प्रायोरिटी देनी है. सो स्टफ लाइक दैट जो हमें रेगुलर लाइफ में यूज आता है. अभी तुम लोगों ने एक हार्डवेयर का एप्लीकेशन था, वो भी देखा होगा कि एक स्टूडेंट के घर पे, नॉट फ्रॉम दिस इंस्टीट्यूट बट ऑनलाइन काफी चला था, कि व्हेनेवर हिज और हर पेरेंट्स कम इन, द गेट ओपन्स, और वो गेट से सेंसर होके सिग्नल जाता है, और वो सिग्नल से जो भी स्क्रीन पे गेम चल रहा होगा वो चेंज होके डॉक ओपन हो जाएगा. सो स्टफ लाइक दैट जो तुम लोगों को तुम्हारी रियल लाइफ में जरूरी लगता है, तो यू विल बी लाइक, तुम्हें जरूरत है, you came up with the idea but you don't know how to implement that idea, or you don't know how to you don't know what is the required skill set, and if you know the skill set then you don't possess that skill set. तो उस केस में तुम लोग क्या करोगे? तो we'll cover up these questions one by one. ये इतने सारे questions.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, so guys, if you have any questions regarding open source, feel free to ask. It's not a very specific domain like all the others that we've discussed till now.
Yeah, I do have something more to add on. So
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
हाँ, तो फॉर एग्जांपल, अभी तुम लोग को इतने सारे डोमेन्स के बारे में पता चल रहा है, you'll know about more about the domains further too. तो तुम लोग सिलेक्ट कैसे करोगे तुम्हें किस में काम करना है, या तुम लोग यू आर लाइक, मुझे इसमें भी इंटरेस्ट है, मुझे इसमें भी इंटरेस्ट है, व्हिच वन शुड आई चूज? एंड तुम, जो मैंने पहले प्रॉब्लम मेंशन किया था, चूज कर लिए फिर इंटरेस्ट नहीं आया तो क्या करोगे? You can leave it in between. You of course have the choice, but I have a better option, which is open source. तो open source में you go on existing projects, और तुम उन existing projects को improvise करने के लिए उसमें contribute कर सकते हो. तो अब एक project open source है, मतलब एक a project is available for everyone to see. Fork is in copy the code, to C for contribute to, etc. तो उधर तुम decide कर सकते हो कि तुम्हें उसका documentation improve करना है, or you want to improve the design of it, or you want to improve some other technical aspect of it. You have the choice. Secondly, तुम actually उसी application पे काम कर रहे हो जो तुम use कर रहे हो. For example, जैसे Linux open source है, so you are using Linux and you spot a issue somewhere, yeah, you spot a issue in the working, you can go there and yeah, you can go there and just raise an issue and tell people about it कि मेरे को ये problem आ रहा है. Yeah, you are new to Linux and you don't know how it works, and you can go and ask in the either in the community channels or on GitHub as well कि मेरे को ये issue आ रहा है, I have problem in setting up, or I have problem in this command, uh, and so and so, and there are people out there who will help you out in very soon. So okay. सो ये तो हो गया कि तुम लोगों के पास चॉइस ओपन है. मतलब जैसे तुमने एक इशू चूज किया कि मुझे वेबसाइट के एक छोटे से पार्ट में आई वांट टू कंट्रीब्यूट, कि मुझे आई वांट टू इम्प्रूव द फ्रंट एंड ऑफ दैट, और आई वांट टू इम्प्रूव द डिजाइनिंग ऑफ दैट. तो यू डिड दैट एंड तुम्हें समझ में आएगा कि मुझे इस काम में इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है कि मुझे नहीं आ रहा है. सो इसमें बेसिकली यू डोंट हैव टू कमिट टू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स. ऑफ कोर्स तुम एक चीज के लिए एक चीज बोल रहे हो कि आई डू दिस, सो यू कमिट टू दिस कि मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, और तुम नहीं भी कर पा रहे हो तो यू विल आस्क फॉर हेल्प एंड पीपल विल बी देयर टू हेल्प यू इन एन इंस्टेंट. तो you get the idea. Basically you get a long list of things to do from, and you can choose things from your own interest. So you don't have to specialize in a certain domain. Go and explore this could be a kind of platform for you to explore. Then advancements with the question I mentioned. तो एडवांसमेंट्स में तुम्हारा कोर्स, जैसे तुमने एक एप्लीकेशन बनाया और तुमने उसे ओपन सोर्स कर दिया. अब अगर तुम्हारा एप्लीकेशन कोई और यूज कर रहा है या कोई और देख रहा है एंड सम अदर पर्सन इज इंटरेस्टेड इन योर एप्लीकेशन, देन ही और शी कैन कंट्रीब्यूट योर एप्लीकेशन. तो डजेंट मैटर कि तुम्हारा एप्लीकेशन में, जैसे आई ऑल्सो मेंशन डॉक्यूमेंटेशन, तो डजेंट मैटर कि तुम्हारे एप्लीकेशन में अभी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है कि नहीं है, बिकॉज समबडी एल्स हु इज एक्चुअली इंटरेस्टेड इन इट can do that. You can open an issue for that and people can contribute to that. So it's more like, do you get a feel of your interest, job of your interest. Also wonderful ideas again कि काफी wonderful ideas हैं but required skill set नहीं है. For example, तुमने कोई application सोचा जिसमें ML और web development दोनों required हैं and you only know web development currently, so you can create that basic application and you can add the idea to your repository and ask people to contribute, basically raise issues. Also this is something that is you can do on GDSC, in GDSC too. Go to Discord server, there are channels for everything, and add in there कि I'm searching for this, I'm making this application and I need a person who do this, who specializes in this field, or who knows something about this field, and will you be up for it? And you will find people, or you will find someone who would be discussing with you, who would be interested in your idea, and so on. So basically, well, why remorse when you can open source? So
Okay, one of
yeah.
you guys have asked, like, is financing a problem for the open source developers? And one also asked, won't I earn more by selling a code rather than making it open source? How do we earn in future if we practice open source? So who will be picking? Sakshi, you will be telling this answer.
Yeah, I can tell them answer, but I think Manish would be better for it. Manish.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
So the question was, why the open source flourish so much, even though
Yeah.
selling the code is more profitable on the
Okay.
individual aspect of it.
Yeah. So who asked this question?
There's this guy Viral
Viral. Yeah.
Verma.
So Viral,
Yeah.
let me ask you one thing. You're talking about the selling the code, but the thing about selling the code is you will sell the code that you will develop, or let's suppose you have a team of 4 to 5 people that will develop, right? Now tell me one thing, that a team of 5 developers will make a better code, or a team of 5,000 developers or 5 million developers, right? I think that should answer the question like why is open source flourishing more, right? Because in open source, anybody can come to the code base, look into it, and contribute. Yeah, so it ultimately results to a better code base rather than the private team projects that companies develop or you will develop to sell it. Right. Yeah. So
There's one
VLC is
more
open
thing
source.
why the open source flourished so much on the company aspect of it. Companies were like paying the paying their employers to
Do open source.
develop the open source environment because they were actually trying to sell the not so premium product just to make you guys addicted and then sell their premium products. So this was the first idea why the companies came up with the open source. And the other reason is, let's just suppose you are a small startup, you don't have the resources to go to each college and check for the top talents. So what you will do is you make the repository of your idea open source and will ask the open source community to help you out with your startup idea. So this is the another reason why open source flourished so much in the past few years when the startup started booming up.
Yeah, one other reason like companies promote open source is obviously because of the PR part, like public relations. It makes the company look good in eyes of the public. And one another last thing that I would like to tell is the example of React.js. So Facebook developed React.js internally, right, for their own website. But the React.js, the problems in React.js were so much that their own team was not able to, solve them good in a good manner and develop them in a good manner. So they open source the React project, and now it's the most used, like the most popular front-end framework in the world. Right. So by this only you can see the power of open source, the power of community, and how it makes anything good. Right. But I've also shared a dark side of open source in the chat. So do read that
Yeah.
after this event. Okay.
Also, I would like to add something to it, like open source. We have many people in our college which do open source, and they have huge, big connections due to open source because they meet with
Yes.
different people. Like we have Manish, he's in the Node.js repo, okay? And for getting jobs, and one way is you get good in DSA, you work hard, you grind, you develop, like you go on Coursera, you get a nice rating in your competitive programming aspect and those things. But if you are in open source, if you are helping the community out, your work gets मतलब वो notice करते हैं लोग उसे, like if you
Yeah,
help the
everybody can
community
see
out,
your work.
yeah, everybody can see your work, and उसके through many people approach you for jobs, and that's a good thing that I, and
There's
मतलब
this
मैं क्या
classic
कहूँ,
example.
yeah,
Give him the example of Shivansh Srivastav sir. So he was actually contacted by his GitHub ID for a job for Facebook London, right? And it was just because of his GitHub profile. So there's another thing why open source is good for you.
yeah,
You might
Mm.
get a offer for internship at Facebook London just because you have a nice GitHub profile.
Not just Facebook London, बहुत लोग.
yeah,
A lot of
बहुत,
people offer
that
for jobs.
that's that.
yeah,
Facebook London is just to inspire you guys.
yeah,
Apart from that, there
Uh,
are a lot of better companies out there
yeah.
which you
a
can
good
seek
Also
out.
open
that's
source
Meta
record is like
London,
a stamp of approval ki you know your stuff. If you're good at open
yeah,
source, basically the people who are hiring you, they are sure about one thing is that you know your stuff. You don't need to be managed ekdam minutest things you don't need to be told. You already know how to code.
yeah.
Yeah, totally agreed. There's one question in the chat. Is there any eligibility for open source for particular projects available, like project experience or specialization? No, there's no prerequisites except the PR or the issue you are choosing on. You should have the idea about what you are choosing. And if you don't, you can just ask them that you can just comment, sir, I want to work on this. Would you help me getting started? It?
Yes, so they go in open source, the community is the power. Like DSC is a community of developers in our college, but you can consider GitHub as the community of developers all around the world. Okay, so go ahead. If you are interested in a
Fact,
repo and you want to contribute, just comment and they will help you. Uh, I think one common question for open source is like somebody asked to like he knows basic JavaScript, HTML, CSS in what to contribute to open source, right? So yeah, like in on GitHub, you can find projects of all levels of difficulty. So even if you know basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can find projects related to that. And as you advance and you learn more and more, you can like go and explore the repositories, ask their maintainers for help, for the resources, learn them again, and then contribute. So yeah, it's a long process and it's a kind of intensive process at the start. But once you settle on one organization and one repo, then you can continue your contribution journey like with ease. So at the start, it's kind of hectic, you can say, because you'll have to learn new projects, new code bases, etc.
Also, somebody asked, do we work on open source applications for GSOC? Yes. Also, not just GSOC, there are various open source programs out there. So get into GSOC and you'll realize about them. You'll get to know about them.
Yeah, there's MLH, Outreach, GitHub
Open source
extensions.
is a huge term like to discuss. Like it consists of almost everything, like every aspect of development, every aspects of applications, every aspects of community. It has everything. So yeah.
One good thing about open source is you will learn a lot how to make a like you will improve a lot of your code quality, right? Just by looking at what the industry is coding right now. So that's one thing which is very important if you are trying to break into the IT industry. Learning what the industry standards are, open source helps you know it well.
Also, I would like to add on to this, not just by looking at the code, you'll see that when you contribute yourself, like you make a PR, there will be various reviews for it. The maintainers of that repository will tell you that instead of doing this, you can go for a simpler approach or how your code affects other components of the application. So that part is very, it's said that less than 50% of the time is involved in coding and more than 50% is involved in code reviews and stuff in open source. So, maybe that's also okay. If there aren't any questions, we can move on.
Yes, I think so. We're already like 15 minutes till 6 p.m. So, yeah. I hope you guys are willing to stay here if we exceed that time duration.
Just drop a yes in the chat box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go for the
Just drop
binary.
a yes. Yeah. Go
Binary,
for the
yeah.
binary.
Go for the
Yeah,
binary.
we will talk in binary from now.
Oh, too many
Okay,
words.
fine.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
Nikhil,
चलो जीरो
It's
नहीं आ रहा
okay.
है.
Zero
अरे
आया
एक
है.
आ
Nikhil,
गया
Nice.
finally
ठीक है
आ
Nikhil
गया.
का आ गया
Okay.
भाई.
इट्स नॉट
And
दैट
finally
ठीक
डीप
है.
मेरा क्या like I was
Finally
waiting,
Nikhil आ
but
गया.
seriously I was waiting. Okay, okay.
चलो.
Okay,
चलो let's.
guys. Hello everyone. I am Nikhil. I currently hold the position of web development lead in GDSC. So yeah, let's get started and dive into the biggest network in the world, like the web. Damn, that was quite like a YouTube intro, huh? Yeah, but anyway. Okay, let's start by imagining your life without internet in this lockdown. Okay. Of course, I'm talking about the appropriate websites and services. Okay. Yeah. Just try to imagine. You can't, right? You can't. तुम नहीं कर सकते. I mean, you तुम लोग अभी यहाँ पे टीम से बात कर रहे हो. You are talking with your friends online. We have Google Meet जहाँ पे classes होती है. And without those, life would be like बहुत ज़्यादा difficult. So yeah. So अगर मुझे अभी एक मस्त फैंसी सा स्टीव जॉब्स डायलॉग बोलना हो तो it would be like the world is on the web and it's the only thing that has surpassed Chinese goods in a sense of penetrating into people's lives. Okay. So with this, I guess you would have a pretty good idea about the flexibility that the web offers. Okay. Okay. Now I would like to talk about browsers. Okay. Like you access the web with browsers, right? I'm sure that many leads here and many of you guys have must at some point complained about the Chrome consuming a hell lot of RAM. Like, okay, I want to see the responses in the chat. And sorry guys, मैं chat पे active नहीं हूँ. ऐसे मैं chat पे बहुत active रहता हूँ because I can't access my chat. पर या
Too many
मतलब
binaries. Okay, answer in binaries. 111.
आई होप तो यार वंस या एंड थैंक्स टू अनुराग, वो मुझे लाइक एक सेपरेट गूगल मीट पे उसने मेरे को चैट स्ट्रीम करके रखा है, तो या मैं ऐसे बहुत इंटरेक्टिव बनता हूँ, बट या कूल इंटरेक्टिव बोला मैंने, ठीक है, हंस मत या ओके। तो ऑफ कोर्स लेट्स कंटिन्यू, ठीक है, बट बॉय ठीक है, मतलब डैम द पावर ऑफ ब्राउजर्स, नहीं आई मीन दिस इज कंप्लीटली इनसेन. Okay, how many of you have heard about Smash cards? Like, do you guys play Smash cards? Have you ever played Smash cards? Huh, dude, Brave, of course. Like, Brave is nice. I saw someone talking about Brave, yeah. So, Smash cards, is a game. And I know, like, मैं भी खेलता था अपने friends के साथ in the lockdown. तुम लोग के भी groups बन गए होगे. तुम लोग भी खेल रहे होगे, of course, ठीक है. तो, yeah, it is using WebGL, right? Someone said that. It's a fully
Yes, well,
fledged 3D game running on your browser, okay, and somehow utilizing your GPU. That's crazy. I mean, your browsers are accessing the power of your GPU and rendering a complete fully fledged game. Okay, wait. Give me a minute. Okay, it's cool. So yeah, and there is also one website that I would like you all to like check out. That's called Poki.com. It where you can play all the cool old Android games like Subway Surfer, Temple Runs. Because I remember I used to play them in my mom's Jelly Bean Android, and they used to suck like a lot. मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा, ठीक है? And I was so much into Subway Surfer and stuff, but this website, someone can type that out, like poki.com, poki.com. That's a okay, sorry, अगर मेरा mic से अभी अचानक जोर से आवाज आ गई हो तो. Am I audible? Like, can confirm?
Yeah,
Can someone?
सही सही
perfect.
सही.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
perfect.
If you want to do something like Photoshop, you can go on photopea.com and you can do a basic Photoshop thing on the web. All I'm telling you that the power and flexibility that web offers to us, right? Like, which you can transform a single click into a vast, what we can say, into a lot. Like a single click can be transformed into anything on the web. And that flexibility is why the 2021 Stack Overflow Developer Survey had showed that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are the most popular languages. Okay, there is this survey called Stack Overflow Service, which developer survey. Almost 80,000 plus people participate there, and they tell you about their experiences, and there you will know. Okay, and okay, do you guys have any questions right now? Like anything up
Regarding
till
web
right?
dev.
Yeah, regarding web dev, I will continue in a bit, but I wanted to like just stop because I'm just speaking. I can speak about web dev, kabhi bhi, yeah, like cool. Chinmay, okay, so is this a good that we can talk about having a good roadmap or anything in a separate Discord session, or I think that would be a very long
All kind
conversation talking about, yeah,
resources to almost all the topics are there in our
are there
Discord
in the
server. You can just
Discord.
get into the server and check
Yeah.
out the resource column.
Also, yeah, Manish said, अभी मत खेलने लग जाना, ठीक है? Like there are 124 people here, and I'm like keeping an eye. Don't leave this chat there. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm gonna talk next, Somak, if I've pronounced your name right. So when I talk about web development now, I want you guys to have this perspective in your mind that you are not just limited to only websites. Okay, like when talking about web development, think of web not just as a technology, okay? It's think of it as a platform which the world has access to, and you are building something for that platform. Like everybody on the world can check your stuff, can see what you are doing. I mean, it's the biggest network on the world. Come on, like. So yeah, think of it as a platform. Even on the like we had a Android ka slide pehle. Think of Android as a platform, and you want to develop something for that platform, and it can be anything. It can be an application, it can be a website, it can be everything. Like this Google slide, if you have been using, it has been built using C++ on the website. There's something called, okay, I'm not going to go into that right now. But yeah, I mean, that would be overwhelming for some of you guys, but that's what web
Yeah.
offers to you. That what web offers to you. It offers a lot of power, and it is for what I believe, it is the fastest way that you can get your ideas to the world. Like you can show your world. If you have a like machine learning learning idea in your mind, go build a website which displays the output, because not everyone gonna access your terminal, right, to see, okay, these are the output, these are the outputs. Yeah, go host it somewhere and make a website to display its what we call like whatever thing that machine learning is doing, like a face detection or anything. Yeah, that is called WebAssembly. Yes. Is there any questions that I have missed because I don't have access to chat? Can someone tell me?
Yeah. So one of the question is like, is web dev only site building?
Oh no, that's not only site building, guys. Acha, there is a website that I want you all to go check out. That is called whatwebcando.today. Okay.
So Nikhil, we'll send all these
Yeah, we
to
will send all these links to you later. You don't need to like go there and check now. But yeah, there is a website which will tell you what web is capable of. Like if you guys remember, like if you can tell me right now, okay, in the chat, like if you go on some website and they tell you to, okay, add this to home screen, add this website to home screen, and it adds that website to your home screen as an application. Have you guys have experienced that? Okay, Anurag, can you scroll down the chat in the meet, please? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, bro. And kudos to Anurag यार, उसके बिना मुझे chat नहीं दिख रही होती आज की. Yeah. So yeah, that's PWA. Damn, Yash, I would like to have a like chat with you sometime. You seem so much into web development. Yeah. It's a shortcut, I guess, not app. It's like an app, and it can access many of your device features. But yeah, I'm not talking specifics, and there is some advertisement going outside my house, so I will mute here for a second, and someone can take the questions. Like Manish, can you take the questions or some of the questions?
So yeah, PW is not a shortcut, and it's also not an app. It's kind of like an offline website, if you want to see it. Just so for the website, you need to connect to the internet. But if you have a PWA, you can save it offline and you can run it whenever you want, like this Spotify or Pokey.com that Nikhil said, right?
Guys, you
Like,
can follow a best
uh,
example of PWA is Amazon. You can go onto the Amazon app. It's a PWA, so you can check it
yeah,
Yes,
if
yes.
you
Actually, like
you're not
one
connected.
more thing that I'd like to share here. I think this can go out of scope, but it's very interesting that you can also package in PWA as an Android
into
application.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Like,
if anyone here has used Oyo Lite, okay, so it's actually a React website that's a PWA and packaged into Android application.
yeah,
So yeah,
Yeah,
the
actually, many like
yeah.
Flipkart is
possibilities are
also
endless.
yes. Sorry for
Guys,
interrupting,
like
guys.
web, it's so much flexible. It's not about those GIF. Like I remember a time like when I used to go on cyber cafes, and because I don't had access, I didn't have a what? I can't speak English right now, right? ठीक से? Anyway, like मेरे पास लैपटॉप नहीं था, ठीक है? एंड मैं साइबर कैफे जाया करता था, एंड वहां पे आई यूज उस समय देयर वर दिस फ्लैशी वेबसाइट्स लाइक those would have like GIFs and everything like going around. Flashy in the sense, in good sense, like so much vibrant colors. Okay, okay, that's what I meant. Yeah, like, but now you see the quality that websites have attained. That's a lot of quality. And again, I would like to repeat this again. When we talk about web development, guys, you are in your first sem, and don't like just go and learn any other language because we are talking about it. go see it like go s- go like for any of the domains that we are talking or we are about to talk. Don't just hop into it like ऐसे ही चलो इन्होंने बता दिया ये कूल लग रहा है, and don't just go there. There is always a catch. तुम्हें like धीरे धीरे you should take it slow. Yeah, that's one thing. Okay,
कूल
Mm.
I
है,
think
कूल लग
that's
नहीं रहे, कूल है.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
one question that we missed is like, is web dev just site building? So, Nikhil, would you
yeah.
like to take that or should I?
Yeah, I would like to take that. I would like to take that. See, the thing about web development is like that's it's not just about a website, right? Let me tell you one thing. Okay, this you guys find something interesting. Like web development is basically providing a user utilities through the mediums of web. It can be a website, it can be an application, it can be an website bundled into an application, it can be anything. Like for example, let me tell you guys, have you guys Spotify in your like what we say in your systems like computer? Have you guys Spotify application installed in your application? Like yes, yes, of course. Like
Yes.
yeah, cool. So the Spotify is built with the technologies. It's an application available for your Windows. You install the .exe package, like the installation file in your Windows, but it is built with the technologies that web development that you will see in the web dev space. I'm not explaining it much because you will get confused, but it uses those things. Like it has the same code base, it has the same HTML thing going around, it has a HTML that you are getting displayed. Yeah. Also, like
Yeah,
that
actually,
it's so much
sorry.
flexible. Manish can add anything to it.
Yeah, actually, I was saying that all you have heard about, I think, is the HTML, CSS part. So I think by
Yeah.
site building, what he meant was the front end part. So
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
to
The
tell
front
that.
end and back end part. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to tell that the web development is not only just what you see, but it's also what is happening behind the scenes, and that's what is
Yeah.
called backend. So that's a
Yeah.
completely different domain, but it's also a part of web dev. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, in web dev, you just not have to learn the front
Like you
end
send a
technologies.
message in the chat, you are sending a message in the chat. That message is reaching us to us. Your
Yes,
browser is not sending that message to us directly. You are talking to a backend and it says that, okay, here you are just telling some backend that here is my message, deliver it to everyone. Okay.
exactly. So
So
there
yeah,
is a
it's
server sitting there out there,
yeah,
and that server, I think I already discussed. How will how will you like get and manage that server, that is through cloud computing. So yeah, that's why I said like the
yeah.
web dev and cloud computing,
Go
both
go
of
side by.
them has to be good for a website to be successful. Okay,
Yeah,
but it's such a big domain that a single person can't learn everything. That's why we have
yeah.
front end experts, back end experts, and cloud computing experts.
Okay. I think that's all for my side. If you have any questions that you're gonna ask, like web dev is a vast topic. I'm still learning. I have given like I'm in third year away and I'm still doing web dev because I'm so much into it. And yeah,
Does online compiler use computer hardware? So everything uses computer
it
hardware.
depends. You can make it use the computer hardware though. That's I can tell
No,
you.
no.
Like you can,
Yeah,
No, no. If it
it
is not using your computer's hardware, then it is
huh,
using some other computer's
someone
hardware
some
for
other
sure.
way computer. Yeah, yeah. That is for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if
Okay.
it's
So
some other computer hardware, it's cloud, and if it's your, then it's your local machine.
Yeah.
okay. Will we get the recording of this session? I think.
Yes, yes, you'll get.
Okay. Someone asked when should we start web dev? See, web dev is so easy to get started on. Like web dev बहुत easy है start करना because the community around web dev I think is the biggest in my opinion. Like every like 58% से ज़्यादा लोग अगर तुम Stack Overflow के survey देखो तो they will be like doing this. I'm not gonna take that question, Abhi. Like, how does Stadia works? I mean, dude, that's That's a myth for I think cloud architectures too. That how they were able to do that, Manish, like
Yeah. Yeah, like
building stuff.
Stadia. So see,
Yeah,
things like Stadia is more on the cloud side rather than the website. Even though it
yeah,
seems like there is a website that you can access to play games, the primary work that goes there is actually on the cloud side.
yeah.
And one question is that is web hosting associated with web dev? Yes,
Of course. I mean, if
because
you are
if
developing for
you,
something for, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Continue, Manish. Manish, go ahead, continue. Yeah,
Yeah, I was saying that if you are building a website, you obviously want to show that to the world, right? Or else why are you building it? So even if you're building a personal project, you should know web hosting, like at least the basics and the easy parts. Like there are multiple easy ways to host your website, like there is Vercel, Netlify, etc. So you don't need to learn exactly what web hosting is because that will go into the clouds part of the technology. But you can obviously host your web through managed services like Netlify and Vercel. Yes. And Heroku.
yeah. Okay. I think that's all for my side. Do you have any more questions? अरे हाँ यार आदित्य. That is still under development, guys. So don't just.
Yeah, go ahead and visit the site, Michael Sir's website. So it's very
And
good.
that is still under development. Okay, guys. Like
Yeah. And open it
that
in
will.
laptop when you have time.
Yeah, open it in laptop if you guys can, and I think that would be great. But yeah, that is still under development. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, let's not get distracted from the topic. Like, why you should choose web dev, not why. I mean, how web dev is good as a field. Like, why you should get started into web dev. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So go ahead and ask any questions that you have.
yeah.
Hacking. So yeah, cybersec we will
Hacking.
cover.
Of course, you can
Actually,
see.
the hacking community in our college isn't that developed. Actually, there are
Come
only a
on.
couple of guys who are actually into hacking
See,
in the real
actually,
sense.
to be very honest, hacking, like, it's a word that is used out of place. Hacking
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
means building something. What
If
you're
you're talking
talking
about
about is
cybersecurity,
penetration testing.
right?
What you mean is cybersecurity and pen testing.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
hacking ka
So
community is there, but cybersecurity is pretty
Do we
niche.
need someone asked, do we need to master DSA for web dev? No, bro. Like,
no.
अगर तुम मेरे कोड से प्रोफाइल देखो, it has been stuck on 2 star and for quite long. Yeah, I have a
Like
good Google hack code
even
thing.
मैंने भी
मैं
last
पहले से
time
ही करता था. Yeah,
वही
but
Okay, so we'll be taking this question whether DSA or web dev
yeah,
at the end of
yeah,
the
yeah.
orientation, and we'll discuss
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
properly.
Also
Yeah, we
like
will.
if I talk someone is interested in cybersecurity, the
Aha.
guy that you should reach out is your dragon sir that you have been
Yeah,
mentioning this whole time.
इधर भी
dragon
ड्रैगन
So
sir.
सर ठीक है भाई.
Dragon
Dragon
sir.
sir.
But still, feel free to ping me if you want to ask something related to cybersecurity.
Anyway, let's move on to the next slide क्योंकि 6 बज गए. Let's
yep.
just finish the
Yeah,
orientation
yeah,
first and बाकी
All right.
Yeah.
बाकी का काम बाद में देख लेंगे.
I think people are
Right,
leaving now.
right.
So yeah.
So only a couple of minutes ago, Nikhil said web development gives you a lot of power, and I'd like to quote Uncle Ben: "With great power comes great responsibility." Right? Uh, right. That's that's to be honest. Being honest, in the past couple of decades, there has been so much polarization of data. Uh, the thing is only a couple of people are actually having the data and so is the knowledge to take the appropriate actions on time. So this has led to a vast disparity between the communities knowing something and not knowing whether it exists or not, whether the opportunity is there or the opportunity isn't. So this was actually resolved by a technology introduced first in 1990, which is blockchain. It got its popularity with the incoming of Bitcoin, which was actually the implementation of the blockchain in 2008. So to explain you what blockchain is in a really gist of it, it's an open ledger. So how it actually works is, let's just suppose there is a transaction taking place between me and Deba, and every other guy in this, like the entire meet, is taking the note whether I paid Deva, let's just say 10 rupees or not, which I had the debt of him. And you all guys have this information publicly, that Anurag sir gave Deva sir 10 rupees of his debt. So what this actually is happening is, now if either me and Deba defaults on the, like, the provision that uh, Anurag hasn't paid me the debt, or if I say prerequisitely that I have given the debt even though I haven't given the debt. So what actually can be done is, we can have a poll among us, all of you guys, and including me and Deva, and the one who gets 51% plus votes is said to be the right guy. Okay, it is kind of a democracy. So the idea behind of, like, making the data publicly to everyone was resolved by blockchain. So this is basically the gist of how the blockchain works. We'll get into the technicalities later on, but just to give you an overview how the blockchain works, this is how the blockchain works. Each and every transaction being done is broadcasted over the network, and each and every guy over the network gets receives the information, and he keeps a record of it. So I guess this is I won't be getting into the technicalities of the blockchain right now, but you can go through on the web. That's all from my side. If you have any questions, you can throw it. Yeah, it's decentralized. Yeah, that's what makes it decentralized. Everyone having the data makes it decentralized.
You guys can think of it like torrent, if you know how torrent works. Like everybody has a local copy of your film or something that you're downloading. Yeah, peer to peer. That's exactly the term. So like everybody is seeding it into the network and you're downloading it. It's kind of a similar implementation.
This is a kind of a, like, advanced topic. First
Yeah.
you need to learn the web development, and only then you can get into the blockchain. Thinking about getting directly into the blockchain is not possible. You need to know the web development first. But this is a technology on the fundamental level of it, fundamental aspect of it. The idea behind is, everyone on the network is getting the data irrespective of what the data is, whether it is pertaining to the guy who is getting the data or not, but he'll receive the data being broadcasted over the network.
Yes, so we are talking about decentralized. The one thing that I like to mention here is, so if you would have been in the college right now, there is this thing that we had is DC plus plus. So
Ha.
it
I
was
am
like
actually
our
also
own.
doing a, yeah, continue,
Yeah,
Manish,
go ahead,
continue.
sir. Go ahead, Anurag, sir. You can tell, like, you are actually building that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I am actually building the DC++, the entire project of it. In this winters, I was actually making the entire DC++ project. So what this actually does is, each one of the guys in the college gets connected to the network, and you can share files through the DC++. If I am having, let's just suppose, a game you don't have, you can take any game. For now, let's just talk about Cyberpunk. If I am having the Cyberpunk on my machine, and you do, so what you can do is, you can directly contact me on the DC++, and you can ask for the file, and I'll send it to you. You will get the file directly, and it would be much faster to download over the DC++ network than to get the torrent and to like decode the torrent over the uTorrent. So that's one thing why DC++ is very much popular in the colleges, because it's very fast. And the other thing is, it makes the entire data available to everyone gets the data which is being shared over the network. So kind of it is also a decentralized network, but it is hosted on the college servers.
Yeah, if anybody has watched the Hostel Days, they will know what we're talking about. Right. Anyway, I guess IPFS, Anurag, do you want to take that?
IPFS. Oh, so IPFS is a kind of a, no, IPFS is not actually a blockchain. It is an implementation of blockchain. So for those who don't know the blockchain, don't get a lot of, like, worried that there are guys who are knowing a lot of stuff. out there. But just for you, Kartike, what IPFS is, it is basically a decentralized database. A lot of database exists in the market which are centralized, popular, basically owned by Oracle or by Amazon. Most of them are owned by Oracle. And IPFS is kind of an open source decentralized database. So all the data, either the relational databases or non-relational databases, can be hosted on IPFS. It is not the blockchain, it is an implementation of blockchain.
Yeah, I think there's a question and ledger, like how is using this ledger thing useful for the network and users or owners?
So
Guys,
uh,
Anurag, I think that would be a concept of a ledger will be too much for these people.
okay, so
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
if you can,
Somak, you can contact me over the Discord. I'll help you out with the technicalities of blockchain. I was just about to give you the overview of blockchain, so it won't be the right place to talk about the ledger in depth right now. Same goes with Aryan and Karthik. You please contact me over the Discord. You are
A ledger, you don't have to like know the exact thing. You just imagine that ledger is the local copy of all the data. Only that much. Fine. It's enough for you right now. You can like go into it afterwards.
I think there are
if
no more
anyone,
questions.
yeah, I see. No more questions. Sumit, continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Is this wait
am
wait
I
there is one question. Is this blockchain money unregistered to government?
Yeah.
So is this blockchain money unregistered to the government? Yeah, you're talking about cryptocurrencies, I guess. You know, so like those are legal tenders in some countries. In some countries, those are not. So it is like, what can I say? It depends on the place where you're born. If you like, I guess El Salvador is the country that is currently using Bitcoin as its its main currency. So if you live there, maybe it is a legal tender.
मेरा नेट गया कि सबका गया?
I think
नहीं नहीं सुमित का ही
समझ
गया
गया
होगा
समझ
शायद
Sumit
गया
का
इसलिए
internet
नहीं
गया.
आई
उसका
सी आई
बारिश
सी
हो रहा था शायद उधर बोल रहा था
Okay. Okay. Guys, do you have any questions like जब तक सुमित reconnect हो रहा है अभी तक कुछ भी GDSC से related? Okay, सुमित वापस आ चुका है.
आ
We
गया
will take this
चलो
later.
फिर क्वेश्चंस बाद में
हाँ, कोई
Yeah,
questions
क्वेश्चन
बाद में.
बात में
वही भाई.
sorry
It's
for
fine.
that.
कोई नहीं
ठीक है, am I audible? सही से.
हाँ हाँ एकदम
फर्स्ट ऑफ
बढ़िया
ऑल जूनियर्स कुडोस भाई, इतने देर तक रुके हो. मेरे को अनामिका का मैसेज आता है कि सर मेरा बैक पेन हो रहा है बोल के वो इतनी थकी है ना. तो या एम आई लाइक
हाँ,
प्रॉपर्ली
you're
ऑडिबल
audible.
बिकॉज
हाँ हाँ
आई
तू
हियर
बहुत
माई
प्रॉपरली ऑडिबल
मैं खुद को, मेरा आवाज खुद को आ रहा है भाई बस.
सही है ना, अच्छा लेक्चर दे रहे हो, आप भी सुन सकते हो.
Yeah, I think it's only on you side, your side.
Okay, fine. If you guys could mute yourself, it would be better, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So I'm the technical head at GDSC. This does not mean that I know everything. Fine, it's just a term. To my technical expertise, I've been doing a bit of like, I've done web development. I work in OneStack, and I do know a bit of blockchain. Fine. So combining both, I'm here to tell you about Web3. Fine. So first of all, what I'll tell you is the most interesting session, no doubt. Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you for that. Sure. So we can read the definition here. What is written here at the most basic level? Web3 refers to decentralized online ecosystem based on blockchain. Fine. So it is basically your internet or your web on the basis of blockchain. The backend is on blockchain, and your front end is your current front end. Maybe it is in React.js or anything like that. Fine. So that is Web3. And like telling you more about it, what Web3 exactly is, uh, what we can understand it in two different terms. Fine. So you guys know like how internet came out. You know, it came out in terms of www in 1993, I guess, as Web 1.0. Fine. And during those times, what used to happen is every individual he could put on static pages on the internet. Like if you are geeks, you can go on to different old sites and you can check. There are only simple blogging sites when people used to advertise their stuff and things like that. So as a user, what used to happen is you could only read those things. You could not update those things, or like you could not tell it. Yeah, Reddit, old Reddit. I look like a Redditor. Fine, I like you. Fine. Anyway, so yeah, Web 1.0 was something wherein users could only read what was on the internet. Fine. And then came Web 2.0, something that we are currently in. Fine. So currently what we can do is we can read what is on the internet and we can write on the internet through, what can I say? Like I say, you're using your Instagram, you're updating your photos onto Instagram, when you're updating onto Facebook or maybe LinkedIn, anything. So you can write in something on your internet and your existence is there on the internet because you can write there. Fine. So this is the difference between Web 1 and Web 2.2. So in Web 1 you used to have something only like you could read. In Web 2 you can read and write. And in perspective to the architecture in Web 1.0, what used to happen is only some developers, the people who could write. Am I audible? No, Anurag?
हाँ रे
You are
कैसे
audible.
नहीं
You
हाँ
are
Yes.
भाई
audible.
ठीक है. या तो भाई व्हाट्सएप के मैसेज आ रहे हैं मेरे को लगा कुछ सीन हो गया. कोई नहीं. हाँ तो ऐसा होता था
कोई
कि
सीन नहीं है भाई.
जैसे तुम क्या बोलते हो उसे, वेब 1.0 में ऐसा होता था कि कुछ डेवलपर होंगे जिनको बेसिक HTML CSS पता है, वो अपना वेबसाइट बना के डाल सकते थे. इट वाज नॉट कंप्लीटली डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड, इंडिविजुअली था वो, बट इट वाज नॉट इन अ organizational structure. Fine. In Web 2.2, what happens is your backend mostly it is centralized over servers. You have something as servers. I hope you guys at least know the term what server means. लाइक जहाँ पे मोस्ट ऑफ द डेट बैकएंड जहाँ पे स्टोर होता है. ऐसा नो तो बोल दो भाई, 10 कुछ तो डालो. वेट कर रहे हैं हम.
डाल दो भाई.
Mm.
आ गई स्ट्रीम, आ गई वंस की.
सर्वर तो पता ही होगा.
आ गए.
हाँ, सर्वर नहीं पता.
सर्वर एक एक को नहीं पता है. जा पड़ा
सर्वर
भाई.
सबसे बेसिक टर्म में ऐसा समझो कि एक कंप्यूटर है कहीं पे पड़ा हुआ है एंड वो तुम्हारे लिए काम कर रहा है.
Yes,
वो
cloud
तुम्हारा,
computing, I think
हाँ
पहले लाइन
क्लाउड
मैंने वही
कंप्यूटर.
बोला था.
या
हाँ भाई, वो तुम्हारा डेटा मैनेज कर रहा है सर्वर, तुम्हारा सब सेंट्रलाइज्ड वे में है ना. तो वेब 2.0 में ऐसा होता था कि एक सेंट्रल सर्वर है एंड दैट इज होस्टिंग एवरीथिंग. फाइन. एंड नाउ कम्स वेब 3.0. लाइक अभी वेब 2.0 का ज़माना चल रहा है, अभी वेब 3.0 आएगा. Wherein what will happen is you can read it, you can read on the internet, you can write on the internet, and then you can own stuff on the internet. Like क्या बोलते हैं उसे, not matrix kind, but हाँ like तुम्हारा एक, तुम्हारे मरने के बाद भी तुम्हारा एग्जिस्टेंस हो सकता है इंटरनेट पे अगर तुम वर्चुअली इफ यू ओनिंग समथिंग ऑन द इंटरनेट. फाइन. लाइक if you guys know that Facebook has like converted itself into Meta. I hope you guys know that, and there is no term as Fang right now. It is Mang or Mang something, है ना. तो Fang छोड़ दो, अभी Mang Mang के पीछे लग जाओ, है ना. तो yeah, Facebook is going into metaverse. Not just Facebook, many companies are going into metaverse. It is like VR is being implemented with respect to metaverse and stuff like that. So in that way, what you can do is in metaverse there are different online universes. Let us say wherein you can like own a digital piece, है ना, कि you can own a piece of land on the internet. I'm literally saying this happens. People like million करोड़ों खर्च करते हैं बस एक छोटा piece of land लेने के लिए. Yeah, Decentraland, that's the exact site that I'm talking about. Fine. Yeah, like in Web 3.0, everything is tokenized in a decentralized way. Backend जो होगा तुम्हारा blockchain based है, और फ्रंट एंड इज लाइक जो बेसिक फ्रंट एंड तुम 3.3 JS यूज़ कर सकते हो या मे बी रिएक्ट से कर रहे हो. तो मतलब मैं निखिल सर और अनुराग सर दोनों को कॉम्बिनेशन करना पड़ेगा तुम्हें Web 3 के लिए, है ना. एंड
हाँ,
दिस
और
इज
मेरे को
बेसिकली.
हटाना पड़ेगा. I'm
नहीं
sorry.
भाई तू तो है.
मनीष को भगा देंगे.
तू इम्पोर्टेंट है भाई, तेरे पास तेरे बिना होस्टिंग नहीं होगी.
मैं बता रही ओरिएंटेशन में बहुत डेंजरस टेरिटरी में जा रहे हैं
हाँ,
हम.
चलो
जीडीएससी
सुमित
हेड
कंटिन्यू.
हटाने की
सुमित
बात हो रही है.
कंटिन्यू.
क्या
सुमित
कंटिन्यू?
कंटिन्यू.
एंड सुमित का शायद इंटरनेट फिर से चल गया.
Arey, my brother has come. Just 1 second.
ओके.
If you guys can put your questions on the chat till then.
या Let's move forward and we'll take the questions at the end
So
with
if you want to actually see an like imagination of
रुको बे
Web3,
मेरा
there
बच्चा
is
है.
a नहीं मैं बस बोल रहा था मेरे को लगा तेरा भाई आया था
हाँ वही
कि there is a movie called Ready Player One. Okay, go ahead and watch it. It's
I did watch it.
basically what Web3 will look like in extreme.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
metaverse is cool. You can own stuff on the internet, and yeah, more. I've written here more into Web3, NFTs, metaverse. ये देखो नीचे तुम्हें इमेज दिख रहा होगा, है ना? ये इमेज ये मतलब गाली नहीं दे सकता अभी मैं, बट या इट्स नथिंग मच. यू कैन क्रिएट इट. तुम खुद बना के डाल सकते हो, पैसे कमा सकते हो. लोग पागलों की तरह पैसे देते हैं. आई डोंट नो व्हाई, बट हाँ देते हैं. This thing, this thing went on for 4.5 crores. I'm just writing it here. And also, like the first tweet by Jack Dorsey, he's the CEO of Twitter. Fine. So the first
Ex-CEO.
tweet that,
Ex-CEO of Twitter.
yeah, ex-CEO. Okay, bhai. Ex-CEO of Twitter,
Ex-CEO.
founder of Twitter, ठीक है.
Point
Founder तो था ही.
already done.
हाँ. तो what he used to, उसका जो पहला ट्वीट था, उसका ओनरशिप दैट वेंट टू अ मलेशियन बिजनेसमैन फॉर लाइक 24 crores समथिंग. जस्ट बिकॉज पब्लिकली ये अवेलेबल होगा, जब भी लोग पूछेंगे अबाउट दैट ट्वीट, everybody will know that that tweet was owned by the person who paid for it, like having an, what can I say, internet presence. So basically this is web3. Yeah,
So one guy
decentralized.
has asked how we can make an NFT. So there's this thing called Photoshop, which Manish sir and Harshal sir specialize in. You can go there and learn Photoshop. That's the like the basic thing you can do right now to start with the NFT. And once you are done with the Photoshop, you can just go and throw it into the like the dump of the cryptocurrency and the NFT world right now, and they'll give you a lot of money. You'll
Yeah,
overwhelmed with the amount of money they'll pour in.
anything can be an NFT, man. Anything. You can
Yeah,
25 दिन
but
में पैसा डबल वाली स्कीम है ठीक है
अरे
तो
मतलब
literally,
सिर्फ
literally.
डबल सिर्फ
A
डबल
dog's shit worth is a lot more. Believe me.
इसका मीट का स्क्रीनशॉट लेके डाल दिया तो वो भी एनएफटी बन सकता है.
या
ऐसा
रिसेंटली
है.
अभी वो मिलियन सेल्फीज का आया था ना, वो
हाँ
भी
हाँ
पीपल
एनएफटी
हाँ हाँ
हो
हाँ.
भाई
गया.
18 साल की
Million
पीपल
सेल्फी
वाला.
दे रहा है, ऐसा कुछ था. हाँ.
right.
हाउ
Anyway, एक
आई
And
interesting
डाउनलोडेड
question है कि what's the actual use of online entities except for the hype scene? मेरे को नहीं पता भाई. I don't
मेरे
know
को भी नहीं,
this.
मेरे को भी
किसी को
नहीं.
नहीं
Same
पता
so
here.
the
I
actual
use
use cases is let me take up this question. So the actual use is there's a lot of fraud with the like the documentation and the paperwork. So for an example, let's just take the affidavit word. For an example, let's pick up the affidavit for the land which we own, like the physical land. There's a affidavit government issues. So what's the best use case of an NFT is you can put on these affidavit papers over the NFT and you can share it with the owner. This way it is never a case of like faking the buyer that you are the owner of the land or not, just because you have either you will be having the NFT or you won't be having the NFT for that land. And the all these brokerages, all these shady companies which like play with the like the buyer's money and say that they own the company even though they don't. uh, Cases like those would be eliminated. So this is the best use case of NFT which I see in the upcoming future.
Yes.
I don't know if this
Things
answered the
like
question, but
things like agreements, etc. They need to be verified.
I forgot to tell you the full form of NFT. It stands for non-fungible token. Fine. So like fungible means that it is one of a kind. No one can like what can I say, replicate it. Like Mona Lisa is a fungible item. The one painted by Leo, what, yeah, Da Vinci
Leonardo
is
DiCaprio.
fungible. Caprio नहीं भाई,
लियोनार्डो
विंची था वो.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Vinci.
I think fungible.
विंची है ना.
And
You are taking the definition of non-fungible.
I just wanted to
Like
tell him
fungible,
fungible. Yeah,
fungible means it can be replaced.
Sorry, I'm really sorry guys. जरा बैकग्राउंड में थोड़ा सीन है, कोई नहीं. हाँ, Fungible means something that can be replaced, and non-fungible means something that is more of a unique kind of thing. So as said, Mona Lisa is a non-fungible thing. जो मतलब जो मेन है वो पेरिस के म्यूजियम में, that is a non-fungible thing. उसकी जो copies बनेंगे, those are fungible. The one that is original will hold a, what can I say, immense amount of money. It all goes with rarity. Okay, any questions? Can we sell fingerprints because they are unique? You can sell, but people won't have a, क्या मतलब तुम्हारे fingerprints का वो क्या करेंगे? कुछ तो फायदा हो कि पैसा दे.
If you can give the potases, then it might be possible that they'll give the money,
हाँ
not
अभी
yours.
तुम वही जो बाइडेन का फिंगरप्रिंट
If
दे दिया,
you
फिर
जो
यूएस का
बाइडेन का
एक
दे दो तो
आर्सेनल
पक्का
का
तुम्हें
मिल गया
पैसे मिल
तो
जाएंगे.
खत्म भाई.
आईसीएस आएगा तो
अभी
बोला
तो
था,
गेम
कहेगा अच्छा ये भाई मुंह बोला दे देंगे.
वो देंगे कि गोली देंगे सीधा.
डेवलपमेंट पे रहते हैं, डेवलपमेंट पे रहते हैं.
अभी अचानक
चलो
हमारे
लेट्स
मनीष सर के घर पे होएगा
चलो
एफबीआई
okay.
नॉक नॉक ओपन अप.
Yeah. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, we'll like take them up, or like we'll continue with the general discussion.
आगे बढ़ जाते हैं मेरे हिसाब से, इतना बहुत
Yeah.
हो गया.
हाँ हाँ और
Yeah, I
स्लाइड
And
think
Abhi,
next slide is
yeah, Namika, Anant, you guys can take it up.
Yes, so we'll take it from here.
yes.
So do join our chapter page. I'll drop the chapter link here. Yeah. Do join our chapter page for more updates and upcoming events. Moving forward.
So
Drop.
there's this guy who has asked, is there any development possible in this domain? Like I'd like to ask you whether you are talking in respect of job opportunities or in respect of development, as in development. Just write in the chat. As job,
जॉब.
okay. So the thing is, in India there are not a lot of companies who are paying very well to the blockchain developers, but talking about going opportunities abroad, blockchain developers are considered to be the second highest paid. You can Google it. This time I'm not faking it. The second most paid developers are blockchain developers. You can search it over the Google. And in talking about India, there aren't a lot of opportunities. There's this company called Matic Networks with the ticker icon Polygon. It is actually paying something, but not much compared to what the SD roles are getting. Blockchain developers aren't making that much in India, what they are making in US.
Someone raised their hand, I think. मेरे को दिख रहा है
हम्म
कुछ. अच्छा अनंत ने
अनंत
हैंड
है
रेज
भाई,
किया
ये
है.
अपना अपना अनंत है
जी
भाई.
अनंत बोलिए क्या बोलना है
हाँ,
आपको.
मैं वही बोलना चाह रहा था कि जैसे सर ने भी पॉइंट दिया कि इंडिया के अंदर उतना स्कोप नहीं है, तो दिस नॉट ओनली स्टैंड्स ट्रू फॉर दिस. काफी सारी ऐसी फील्ड्स हैं जिसमें तुम्हारा इंटरेस्ट आ सकता है, बट प्योरली इंडिया में उनका उतना स्कोप नहीं है. लाइक जैसे ये हो गई, उसके अलावा साइबर सिक्योरिटी में काफी ज्यादा बातें चल रही थी. साइबर सिक्योरिटी का भी सिमिलर सीन है इंडिया के अंदर. ऑल्सो गेम
Look,
डेवलपमेंट.
look, the current scene in Indian IT industry is big tech companies treat Indian IT industries as the maintenance ground. They don't consider Indian tech as the development grounds. So most of the work being done by the big tech in India is the maintenance. And so a lot of these sectors, evolving sectors and ones which have a lot of research involved aren't actually being done in India. Startups में scope है, right? Startups में scope है, but they aren't like giving you a lot of money which you are expecting out from the SD roles. I think we can, हाँ, general questions ही चल रहे हैं. पूछो भाई, बहुत
हाँ
सारे
अभी
लोग
तो
थे.
अभी इज द टाइम फॉर
अभी अभी
Ah,
पूछो,
lots
yes.
of
हाँ
general
पूछो,
questions.
हाँ.
अरे like
So
one thing.
before this, one more thing that I'll like tell everyone ki I think the primary the event had it is a discovered domain. It has ended. Now it's the Q&A time. So like feel free to stay on the meet and ask any questions that you have. We are here till you are here. Don't
हाँ
worry.
मतलब
So
अनदर वे ऑफ सेइंग इट इज कि अगर बहुत कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट काम है तो ये वाला पार्ट उतना
Yes.
इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. यू कैन गो डू योर वर्क. मतलब द इवेंट हैज ऑफिशियली एंडेड.
No, there's
Yeah.
one thing I would like to mention. One question was कि first year में क्या करें? Like first year, what should we do in the first year? ठीक है?
वो अच्छा था.
So, हाँ, I guess everyone would like to have a say in it, starting with जो भी. Deva, you want to continue first?
मैं अपने हिसाब से बोल रहा हूँ. लाइक मेरा फर्स्ट ईयर कुछ ऐसा था कि माई हाई स्कूल में आई हैड कंप्यूटर साइंस एज अ सब्जेक्ट. तो व्हेन आई जॉइंट कॉलेज आई वाज ऑलरेडी वेरी वेल वर्स्ड विद सी प्लस प्लस एंड सी. मतलब मेरे को अच्छा लाइक मोर और लेस कोडिंग आ जाती थी. ठीक है. तो व्हाट आई डिड इन माय फर्स्ट ईयर वाज I knew कि I have an advantage because I already know how to code, so I don't need to learn a programming language from scratch. So I directly started working on my specialization. तो फिर मैंने सोचा कि यार इतने तो फील्ड्स है, किस पे स्पेशलाइज करें. तब मेरे को टर्मिनेटर मूवीज़ का बहुत शौक था, तो मैंने इसीलिए एआई चूज़ कर लिया. तो फिर आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग विथ एआई एंड मेरे को वही मैथ काफ़ी अच्छा लगने लगा. एंड थोड़ा ईगो बूस्ट भी हुआ कि यार स्कूल में तो मैथ नहीं होता था मेरे से, बट यहाँ पे हो रहा है, तो चलो भाई बहुत बढ़िया है. तो आई started with AI in my first year. I think second semester और first semester के बीच में ही I started. पूरा एक साल में मुझे लगा था just to like read up everything there is to know and just get into AI. And मतलब second year तक I had a good grasp of artificial intelligence and machine learning in general. तो once I had that knowledge, उसके बाद तब वही I just started exploring different domains. तो फर्स्ट ईयर का काम यही होता है कि you should just keep on looking at different things and just try to figure out कि यार ये एक चीज मैं अपनी पूरी जिंदगी कर सकता हूँ. ठीक है. Like I won't get bored of this. The worst thing that can happen to you as an IT professional is you can get bored of your job. Some jobs will suck the life out of you and you don't ever want to get stuck in a situation like that. ठीक है. ऑलवेज रिमेंबर ओनली गो फॉर अ फील्ड जेन्यू इफ यू हैव अ जेन्युइन इंटरेस्ट इन इट. मतलब लोग कर रहे तो मुझे भी करना चाहिए, ये चीज नहीं होना चाहिए बिकॉज इट्स रियली हार्मफुल.
I would like to something. I have something to add on it. Like there is something that one of my seniors told me, and ये मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी बात. Like don't be a jack of all trades. Like that's what Deba said basically. Like तुम्हें अगर कोई चीज़ एक्सप्लोर करना है, जाओ यूट्यूब पे आधे आधे घंटे के वीडियोज है, देखो एंड देखो कि क्या ये हो पाएगा या नहीं. एंड अगर इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है करो, नहीं आ रहा है आगे बढ़ो. इट्स लाइक ज़्यादा टाइम मत दो इफ़ यू डोंट फील लाइक. एंड लाइक स्टार्ट करने के टाइम एंड ऑल्सो तुम्हारे बहुत सारे सेशंस होंगे, बहुत सारे क्लब तुम्हारा लेंगे, बहुत सारे डिफरेंट सेशंस प्रोग्रामिंग के, डेवलपमेंट के एंड ऐसे, तो उन्हें अटेंड करो एंड फिर उधर भी फिगर आउट हो जाएगा तुम्हें कि क्या तुम ये चीज़ करना चाहते हो या नहीं. बस कोई द थिंग इज बी श्योर कि तुम ये चीज़ करना चाहते हो एंड तब वो चीज़ करो. या
Yeah,
जस्ट
and
एक इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन आया है चैट में. मनीष, आई थिंक इट्स बेस्ट इफ यू टेक दिस अप.
since privileged to be here, but you could give us a brief on this Google DSC theme, please. Okay. Ankit, are you copying a question from another? Okay, so I think we already discussed what.
ये कॉपी पास्ता बन चुका है.
Yes, I think we already
ये
discussed what
चाहिए
is
आईटी
Google
प्रोफेशनल्स के लिए.
DSC,
कॉपी पेस्ट आना
right?
चाहिए.
And the original question was from Shafin. So, Shafin, I'll just say that we already had the discussion midway of the session, and we'll send the recordings of the session with the feedback form later tonight. So you can go to that part. But on a brief, I'd like to say that the Google DSC is a community initiative taken by Google to open a developer club in each college to promote Google technologies and development. And that's what we are doing here for you guys.
So there's also on, like, coming back to the previous question, I would like to add on. You are in your first year. Don't just stick with you have chosen IT, so I'll continue with the IT. A lot of our alumni I'm connected with is saying that they are considering switching to non-IT roles. Most of them are considering in managerial roles or in the finance sector as well. So what I'm trying to make a point is, if you are not very much a kind of a guy who is very enthusiastic about IT in general, don't think that taking an IT as your major in your bachelor's would hold you back from doing something else, right? You can very well look into finance sector. You can think of pursuing MBA after your, even though you are from MTech or just, or let's just say you are from BCS batch, you can think about doing MBA and getting into the other roles, whether it be consultancy, banking, marketing, sales, anything you can consider of. It's not that you are stuck in IT. The cool thing about IT is uh, IT professionals for a start get to be paid a lot more what the others are making, right? Talking about the finance sector or any other sector of that sort, freshers don't usually make the kind of money the IT professionals make. So that's why IT is so much popular. But it is not that if you are not enjoying IT and then still you are continuing doing your like whatsoever your job profile is, you are continuing doing it, you there's a high possibility you will not excel in it, right? So there's no point continuing a job where you don't enjoy what you do. So there's that. If you are a kind of a guy who is a lot into trading, you can explore trading in your first year. I did that. Sumit did that, and a
हाँ
lot of
lot
my
of
friends in
people.
our college
Like
did that,
मेरे
and they're
हॉस्टल में
making a
मेरा
huge,
नेबर ही अनुराग है, he
right.
just keeps on, अभी भी वो trading पे, he's like
Not
god
not
level
not
trader.
me. There's one more Anurag. He
एक
is
और
a
अनुराग
pro
पाठक,
trader.
हाँ.
Yeah. But I also did the trading aspect of it, and there are guys who are actually thinking of pursuing their career in trading. They excel so much in trading that they don't want to take up the job because they know for the fact that they'll make a lot more just by trading and not doing the job. So that's again out there. You can like think of it. And one more thing, like completely different domain, coming about to completely different domain. If you are a kind of a guy who hasn't been into IT and this is the first time you have been introduced to IT, I would recommend you starting with C++ and doing the competitive coding. Okay, so that will give you the basic structure of how the coding aspect works, and then you can jump into development. Because if you directly jump into development and you don't know how to code, you might be facing a lot of conceptual problems of why the things work. So for someone who has absolute no idea of coding, I would recommend doing C++ and check out and just go and check out CodeChef, Code Forces, or any of the Spoj, any sites, just to get a basic know-how how the coding works.
Yeah, just so Anurag, I'd like to continue from here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just before like doing anything, get a hold of how programming languages work, like variables, literals, etc. Because they are the things that are common in every language, and you should know before you start. And I'd like to share like how to start development. Okay, so many of you guys know that there's Android, there's iOS, there is web. In web, there's JavaScript, TypeScript, so many things, right? But I think that they don't matter. The language don't matter. What matters is your motivation. Okay, so the best way to start development is first of all, don't think about what technology are you going to work. Think about what you're going to make. Okay, you have been using browsers and like Android apps on Play Store and iOS for a very long time. So you must have got an idea of something that you'd like to make, right, by yourself. So first of all, decide on that and then choose the technologies and then start building it while learning the technology. Okay. So this is how I learned, and this is how like I got so good in this because the motivation actually keeps you going because web is such a vast world that many people quickly lose what do you say motivation in it. So first of all, build up the motivation, then start like then jump into
Yeah.
development. That's what I'm saying.
For me, I would say this story goes as I mean, कोई कुछ मेरे को कुछ नहीं थे देवा तू कह रहा था कुछ
नहीं नहीं तू बता ले,
नहीं नहीं
तेरे
नहीं
बाद
नहीं.
मैं
Okay,
बताता
nahi.
हूँ.
For my first semester, I was so much into C and C++, and I think that has helped me a lot अभी मेरे development में. Like when I develop web के applications and ऐसे, I know the flow of data that I have to manage. थोड़ी बहुत skills उन सब चीज़ों में matter कर जाती है. मेरी कॉम्पिटेटिव प्रोग्रामिंग अच्छी नहीं है. ओके, मैं कहता हूँ मेरी कॉम्पिटेटिव प्रोग्रामिंग अच्छी नहीं क्योंकि वो ज़्यादा मैटर नहीं करती. द लॉजिक
Same here.
is what that matters. Like तुम्हें वो programming logic आना चाहिए. Like how you want to make this button. What are the actions that you must do after clicking this button? What you should be storing in your variables. तुम्हें क्या दिखाना है screen पे या क्या तुम्हें process करना है. That logic you should try to build in your first sem. That's my recommendation for you all guys. Go learn any programming language, may it be C, may it be C++. C and C++ हम लोग इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि वो तुम्हारे करिकुलम के साथ मैच हो जाता है. तो that is the only reason that I suggest one to like go learn C and C++, क्योंकि तुम्हारे OOP होंगे next semester में and उन सब के साथ मैच हो जाएगा बहुत अच्छे से तुम्हें बहुत. And yeah, those are powerful languages, but at the same time बहुत ज़्यादा difficult to learn as compared to other languages. Easier than Java, I guess.
Difficult
अभी
to learn if
एक
you go
चीज
in
लाइक
depth.
तुम लोग को
Depth.
Yeah, if you
बताना
go
था
in depth.
मुझे
Yeah.
कि
अरे like
यहाँ पे तो everyone is telling you guys कि like इस मतलब learn these languages and stuff, but a couple of like life decisions also matter like when you're starting out, जो अभी तक मैं mention करना चाहूँगा. It's एकदम शुरू में we mentioned something called tutorial hell. ठीक है, Anant mentioned this term called tutorial hell. So tutorial hell is when you want to learn something, what most people do is they go on YouTube. ठीक है, they start with watching a tutorial playlist and बीच में they lose motivation, so they find other videos to motivate themselves and keep on watching tutorial playlists. ठीक है, so this thing is called tutorial hell because you just keep on motivating yourself to watch tutorials. You don't get into the field and actively code yourself. ठीक है, so whenever you're seeing कि you're watching too many tutorial videos, actively try to stop yourself because it is a very real issue that happens where students just tutorials ही देखते रहते हैं and it's very harmful for you. So do not ever
Yeah.
get stuck in the tutorial hell.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I said like you should have a motivation of your own, like an idea of your own. It can be a copy of something else, but you should know that what you're going to build and build it by learning the concepts yourself, not by directly going to like go on YouTube and see the tutorial. That's not the thing
Another
that you
thing
should do.
is your idea of what college is going to change a lot over the next couple of semesters. ठीक है,
Right.
Abhi, when you're new in college, you try to associate school with college because your last academic institution was your school. तो college is nothing like school. ठीक है, ये मैं तुमको अभी अभी से बता रहा हूँ. Just know this very well. College से you will only learn about very abstract things, the fundamentals of computer science as a subject. ठीक है, but people don't need like industry में people don't need computer science as a subject. They need the applications of computer science.
They need
So
computer science as a skill.
as a skill,
That
exactly.
skill. Yeah.
So college से do not expect to be taught programming languages. They won't be teaching you programming languages. They won't be teaching you web development. They won't be teaching you coding in general. So these
There are
are all some of
subjects.
the skills
They
that you're.
might try to teach you, but you won't get it. They might try.
They'll try.
Yeah.
They'll try, but
They'll try. They'll try their
but
best, but you won't get it.
मतलब यहाँ पे हम लोग सब we've all taken those courses, we've all attended those classes, so we know what happens. ठीक है, so अभी से जान लो कि some things you just have to teach yourself. That is what college is. ठीक है,
Yeah.
do try to find a good peer group. This is again very
Very much
important.
important.
Peer
Yeah.
pressure has always been given a very negative connotation, but in my opinion certain types of peer pressure is very good. Like मेरे केस में क्या हुआ था कि मैं थोड़ा रिलैक्स्ड हो गया था अपने मतलब सेकेंड ईयर के शुरुआत में बिकॉज आई वॉज अहेड बाय अ बिग मार्जिन देन मोस्ट ऑफ माय क्लासमेट्स. ठीक है, सो आई गॉट टू रिलैक्स्ड. आई स्टार्टेड वेस्टिंग माय टाइम ऑन अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स एंड सडनली मतलब couple of weeks later everyone caught up to me एक साथ. ठीक है, and people were मेरे को छोड़ के वो लोग आगे चले गए थे. Like people were doing things that I was like कैसे हो रहा है, क्यों कैसे करते हैं and all that. So that is when the peer pressure kicked back कि like damn I can't be this relaxed, मुझे भी कुछ करना पड़ेगा. I am basically wasting my valuable time. So that is what peer pressure does for you. If you do not have a good peer group, you won't ever feel this pressure. So
Yeah.
make sure to surround yourself with highly motivated people.
Yeah, just
The
suggestion,
One,
and don't like
don't
be
play the
in a negative
comparison
peer
game.
pressure.
Oh,
yeah,
Like,
another
Yeah.
yeah,
thing.
comparison game. Don't play that.
yeah,
Do not ever play the
uh,
comparison game. There is always somebody is going to be better than you at something. ठीक है?
Yes.
Do not
yeah,
ever try to compare कि यार वो मेरे से better है, so maybe I shouldn't do this. No, and do not feel ashamed to approach your own batchmates for help.
Yeah.
Like
one
तुमको
yeah,
thing
लग
I
रहा होगा कि कोई
हाँ
बंदा का स्टैचर बहुत ज्यादा है, वो बहुत प्रो आदमी है, वो तो मेरे से बात ही नहीं करेगा. Try talking to him. Just
yeah.
Yes.
approach तो करके देखो कैसे जाता है.
Yesterday I
I
told
Uh,
have
Nikhil
something to
that
it's
add.
been
Yeah,
it's
कोई
been
डाउट छोटा नहीं होता.
हाँ
yeah,
यार मैं बोलना चाहता था
हाँ,
yeah,
कि
बोलो.
हाँ
क्या बोलते हैं उसे व्हाट कैन आई से यार भूल गया अब मैं
चलो
भाई
यू
कोई
पीयर
रिकॉल
होता है.
प्रेशर
समथिंग
like
Yeah,
peer pressure के बारे में बोलने वाला था मैं like don't play the comparison game like you cannot compare a person on the like you're on the first chapter and what chapter he is on. उन्होंने शायद ज़्यादा मेहनत की होगी. It's like तुम कितनी मेहनत करते हो उस पर डिपेंड करता है. if मैं अगर कंपैरिजन करने बैठ गया तो I'll be depressed because Manish sir, Deva sir, they have like OP profiles and like yeah, like I personally I used to do that in my first year, but then you have to realize it. Don't play the comparison game. Everybody has their own way of learning. Everybody has their
and
own pace of learning.
yeah, and I would like to add one thing. Like basically, ये comparison game ना start होता है grade से. ठीक है, you
हाँ
जैसे तुम्हारे results आएंगे first sem में या quiz होगा कोई, you guys will be like comparing grades and marks. वो सब चीजें स्कूल में होती थी. अब now grow up. ठीक है, like literally कह रहा हूँ मैं, बड़े हो जाओ अब. ठीक है.
यही खत्म.
स्पॉइलर अलर्ट हम लोग के
करना भी
कॉलेज
पड़ता
में
है.
ग्रेड्स रैंडमाइज होते हैं लिटरली रैंड फंक्शन है एक
हाँ,
ठीक है वो इशू होता है और
रैंड
उससे
मेरा
सबको
गिरा
ग्रेड
दिया
मिलते
भाई.
ज्यादा हो गया.
मेरा गिरा
रैंड
दिया
फंक्शन.
भाई.
yeah.
जो भी पढ़
irrespective
रहा
Hey,
होगा
this
उसके some
professor
other
who
अरे
gave
नहीं,
us
रैंड फंक्शन ज्यादा हो गया. लिटरली 4 डाइस होते हैं, वो फेंकते हैं,
yeah,
जो आ गया सो आ गया.
yeah,
इंटू 10
जो आ
करते हैं
गया
उसको.
वो yeah, exactly.
Uh,
सबको जोड़ते हैं
हाँ
या मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं उनके ऊपर.
one
Yeah.
more
Also,
thing,
So
भाई.
see,
चल
they were mentioned right कि first year में he kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
there's one
because he
more
was
to
the
add
topper of our first year, like
yeah,
9.7 CGPA.
देवा टॉपर था.
Deva
We
had
were
10.
नहीं
like
Deva had 10, na? Deva, you had 10, na?
no
First
नहीं
sem
नहीं
में.
10 नहीं
9.7.
था,
No
10 नहीं था.
नहीं
9.7
नहीं
था
10
मेरा.
नहीं था
9.9 था.
9.7 था
The whole year was like Deva is God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
देवा इज
वो
गॉड
गॉड है भाई.
कुछ भी
वो
होगा
है भाई.
देवा
yeah.
हाँ, वो है
Like,
वो है भाई.
there's one more I would like to tell you guys कि अपने बैच से और अपने सीनियर से नेटवर्क करने की कोशिश करिएगा कॉज कि आप कॉलेज से निकलेंगे इंडस्ट्री में आपको जॉब स्विच करनी होगी तो आपके बैचमेट्स और आपके सीनियर्स काफी हेल्प करेंगे
काफी
आपकी
हेल्प.
ऑल्सो
yeah,
एक चीज है, इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम होगा, बिल्कुल होगा. उसको ओवरकम करना तुम पर है. जस्ट मेहनत करो, हैंग इन देयर, हो जाएगा.
भाई मुझे अभी
and
भी इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम होता है. लाइक आई स्टिल फील लाइक कि यार मेरे को कुछ नहीं आता, मैं कैसे पहुंच गया यहाँ तक. लाइक
मेरे
बस
को
बस
कल
सब
खुद
कुछ
हो रहा
लकी
है.
था, सब कुछ क्लिक हो गया
मुझको
मेरे
तो रोज
लिए.
रात को 3 बजे चालू होता है मुझको रोज रात को 3 बजे चालू
Yeah,
तू सो अबे तू जगता ही 3 बजे ना.
होता है
uh,
उसके बाद
yeah,
देखेंगे भाई आज का स्टेटस क्या था कुछ नहीं किया मैंने बस चालू
और also हम लोग मोटिवेशन टॉक दे रहे हैं तो लास्ट वन दैट आई लाइक टू से इज अभी तुम लोग फर्स्ट ईयर में हो. डोंट कीप लॉन्ग टर्म गोल्स, इट
हाँ
वोंट हेल्प. कीप
होते
शॉर्ट
हैं
टर्म गोल्स कि एक मंथ में क्या करना है, एक वीक में क्या करना है. दैट विल
yeah.
हेल्प मोर देन.
हाँ
मैंने अपना फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर सिर्फ CSGO खेला था और मुझे कोई दुख नहीं है उसका ठीक है तुम बोल कर
सेम
सकते
हियर.
भाई.
कर
और
सकते हो
Yeah,
बिल्कुल.
मैंने मेहनत किया था भाई. बट मैं और अभी सब एक
yeah.
मतलब बाद में अनुराग ने ज्यादा मेहनत किया, मैं बकचोदी कर दिया. तो
Uh,
इट्स डिफरेंट
there is one
पर्सपेक्टिव.
thing
I
more.
don't
ठीक
I
है,
don't
जो
think we
मैं
can do
कहूँगा
that. I don't
like
think we can say
अगर
that.
अरे एक चीज है लाइक सीरियस है. लाइक एक चीज है, अगर तुम्हें लाइक ये डेवलपमेंट है एंड ये सारी चीजें ठीक है, देयर इज ऑलवेज मोर टू लर्न. ठीक है, तो
हाँ
तुम लाइक अभी तुम ना हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ तुम्हें ऐसा दिखेगा, कोई ना कोई कुछ ऐसा कर रहा होगा कि तुम ओवरवेलम कर जाओगे. लाइक मैं वेब डेवलपमेंट करता हूँ. ठीक है, एंड देन आई गो एंड एक दिन मैं गया एंड आई चेक दिस वेबसाइट बाय ब्रूनो साइमन. ठीक है, सर्च कर लेना. मैं उस दिन डिप्रेशन में था. लाइक क्योंकि वो हो नहीं रही मेरे, लाइक वो नहीं हो रही मेरे से कभी, लाइक अभी तो नहीं हो रही. ठीक है, तो देयर इज ऑलवेज समथिंग टू लर्न एंड हमेशा कुछ ऐसी चीजें होंगी जो तुम्हें नहीं पता होगा एंड बाकी लोग वो कर रहे होंगे. ठीक है, कोई ना कोई उसे कर रहा होगा. तो डोंट वो मत करना, ठीक है?
एंड ट्राई टू मिनिमाइज लाइक अभी जैसे कि सब लोग अभी रिसेंटली जेई दे के आए हो, सो वो कम्पिटिटिव स्पिरिट अभी बहुत है. लाइक आई नो कि जेई इज लाइक वेरी ग्रोइंग, बहुत कंपटीशन लाइक के लिए प्रिपेयर कर, बट जितना कॉम्पिटिटिव माइंडसेट है वो जेई तक ही. अब उसको उसको अभी जाने दो, ठीक है. अपने
Yep.
बैच में मतलब ट्राई कोई भेदभाव नहीं कर, क्योंकि बहुत बैचेस में होता है बीसीएस को लगता है कि यार हम लोग
हाँ
सुपीरियर है, बहुत अच्छा रैंक आया है, इन लोगों को तो रैंक कुछ नहीं आया है, तो हम लोग तो डेफिनेटली बेटर है. फालतू बात है, ठीक है. मैं खुद बीसीएस का हूँ, मैं जानता हूँ बीसीएस बैच कैसा चीज है, ठीक है. तो
मनीष
ऐसा
सर
मैं भी
आईएमजी से
बीसीएस
हैं
से हूँ.
और
हाँ
मनीष सर आपके जो है मनीष सर, मनीष कुमार सर जो अभी जीडीएससी लीड बने, ये आईएमजी से हैं. और देवादित्य से
या
पहले मैंने मनीष स्क्वाड बनाया था, ठीक है. मनीष को सब आता था, सब. मनीष को कुछ बोलोगे, मैं मनीष के कमरे में जाता था और उससे सीखता था और मनीष सिखा देता था,
Yeah, I'm
ठीक है.
also the
ऐसा
like one of the lowest rankers in the year.
या
हाँ,
I
तो
hope that
ऐसा
motivates.
कुछ नहीं है. पता
द
चलेगा जो
थिंग
तुम
इज
जे आई थी उसको
या
इतना आता होगा, सबसे अच्छा प्लेसमेंट मिलेगा, ठीक है.
भाई मैं
तो
आज
ऐसा
तक पूछता है मनीष को, आज तक
द
हाँ,
सब कुछ.
कोई डाउट होता है मैं मनीष से पूछ जाता हूँ. तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि उसका आईएमजी में है तो उसको नहीं आता होगा, ऐसा नहीं है, उसको आता होगा.
या
एक चीज भाई, निखिल सर ने बोला था कि कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग डज नॉट मैटर. एक स्टेटमेंट आया था अभी इनकी तरफ से.
हाँ,
तो
लाइक डेवलपमेंट में, जॉब्स
हाँ,
में इट
डेवलपमेंट
डज,
में.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली इन इंडिया इट डज,
हाँ,
हाँ,
ठीक
ये
है?
क्लैरिफिकेशन जरूरी था.
ये क्लैरिफिकेशन है.
हाँ, अगर आप
डेवलपमेंट में
ऐसा
लाइक
सिर्फ हम
कॉम्पिटिटिव
जॉब
कोडिंग.
निकालनी है,
हाँ
निखिल
तो
बोलो.
लाइक दोनों
या
आना चाहिए थोड़ा, मतलब
या
थोड़ा नहीं ज्यादा ही, बट आना
द
चाहिए.
थिंग इज कि ना, व्हाट आई वुड सजेस्ट यू गाइस कि अभी तुम लोग फर्स्ट सेम में हो, ठीक है? लाइक हर दिन मैं हर किसी को करता सजेस्ट, वो अलग बात है, होती नहीं है, मेरे से खुद नहीं हुई, पर ये सजेशन रहता है मेरा कि लाइक हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ कर लो यार. लाइक हर दिन एक लाइन ऑफ कोड लिखो, 2 लाइन ऑफ कोड लिखो, कंसिस्टेंट रहो. वीकेंड्स पे आराम कर लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, बस कंसिस्टेंट रहो, चीजें आ जाएगी इवेंचुअली. एंड बस यही था, और
और
कुछ
चीजें करने से
Yeah.
ही आती है.
एंड चीजें
And
करोगे तो आओगे यार.
someone asked hash code का भी कोई सेशन होगा क्या?
हैश
Uh,
कोड या कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग का अगर आपको जानना है तो मैं हैश कोड में पार्टिसिपेट हर साल करता हूँ. आप डिस्कॉर्ड पे आइए, मैं बता दूंगा बिल्कुल.
मैं भी आ जाऊंगा, मैंने भी हैश कोड देखा हुआ है, आई थिंक.
देखते
निखिल
सब
का
है भाई.
काफी सही रैंक भी आया था लास्ट टाइम. तेरा इंडिया
उसका
में
तो बहुत
कितना
अच्छा
60
रहा
थे, वैसा
इंडिया
कुछ
में
आया था ना?
पंद्रह
हाँ
सौ
हाँ.
1500
60 ऑल ओवर द
60
वर्ल्ड 360.
1500 1500
मतलब
किस में था?
भाई
1500
ओपी लोग
किसी में नहीं
बैठे.
था, मेरा ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड 300 रैंक.
अच्छा,
वही.
ओहो,
तो वो भाई बहुत
क्या
अच्छा
बात.
लगा था मुझे, तो
टटल
हैश कोड में
फ्लेक्स.
आ गया था. हाँ, कपल ऑफ
ऐसे
फ्लेक्सेस है, ठीक है. तो हैश कोड इज, देखो हैश कोड इज समथिंग ना जो कि कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग से लोग ज्यादा रिलेट करते हैं. हैश कोड इट इज अ लिटिल बिट डिफरेंट. वो एक सॉल्यूशन मेकिंग है, लाइक तुम्हें एक सॉल्यूशन खोजना होता है एक प्रॉब्लम के लिए. दैट्स लाइक द बेसिक जिस्ट ऑफ हैश कोड. आई मीन तुम लोग अभी हैश कोड
वैसे
भूल जाओ कि हम लोगों ने हैश
हम्म,
कोड कहा है. प्लीज, मैंने ये कहा था सबको कि हैश कोड का नाम मत लेना अभी. लेकिन ले लिया सबने अनफॉर्चुनेटली. पर स्टिल यू कैन ट्राई, गो ट्राई. गूगल के कुछ कॉम्पिटिशन्स होते हैं, अच्छे किक स्टार्ट होते हैं, एंड ये सब. अगर तुम्हें थोड़ी बहुत प्रोग्रामिंग आती है, जाओ उधर सीखो, कंसिस्टेंट रहो बस. या
इज इट
Is
नॉट
it
वैसे
not
अगर
wise
आपकी
to
वाइज
take
प्लान
एंड
two?
कंसिस्टेंसी
हाँ
का, जैसे अभी सर कह रहे थे, मतलब जैसे हम लोग स्नैपचैट पे स्ट्रीक्स बनाते हैं, जैसे गिटहब पे भी स्ट्रीक बनती है. मनीष
हाँ
सर का लॉन्गेस्ट स्ट्रीक 120 है. मतलब उन्होंने हर दिन 120 लगातार, मतलब हर दिन उन्होंने कुछ कोड पुश किया.
या
तो
Open
मतलब
source
ऐसी
में.
कंसिस्टेंसी लेवल मतलब मेंटेन किए हैं
तो
सर.
गिटहब प्रोफाइल
प्रॉपर.
पे, एंड वो स्ट्रीक
और
बेसिकली किसी भी एचआर को ये दिखाता है कि तुम हर दिन बैठ के कोड कर
हाँ
सकते हो.
एग्जैक्टली.
या लाइक कोई भी तुम्हारा
ये चीज
प्रोफाइल
आप कोड
देखेगा
फोर्सेस में भी
तुम
कर
बोर नहीं
सकते हैं.
होगे. या तो इफ यू
कोड
हैव अ
फोर्सेस में भी
नाइस
कर
ब्रेक
सकते
ऑफ
हैं.
कोड.
Lead code है, code forces, everything.
there's an
Oh,
important question in the chat ki is it not wise to take two fields or skills together, for example CP along with dev? तो ये the thing is it is मतलब it's not just wise, it is what you should be doing. Like development एक ऐसा चीज है जो to a certain extent सबको आना चाहिए, be it either web development or app development. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा तो आना. You must know enough to like be able to deploy a basic website or an application. ठीक है, उसके बाद यू कैन ईदर चूज टू स्पेशलाइज. लाइक अभी जैसे कि कुछ लोग वेब डेवलपमेंट पे ही स्पेशलाइज करते हैं, इन द सेंस दैट they go and learn every nitty gritty details about it and become extremely good at the subject. Like मैं web development, I know how to do basic stuff, but I don't know how to manage like the more complicated stuff because I did my specialization in artificial intelligence and machine learning. So at the end of the day, you should have a skill set जिसमें no matter whatever domain you're specializing in, you should be able to build an application or a website around that and be able to deploy it.
Yeah, reason being कि you need to show your work.
Yeah.
हाँ.
Yeah.
If you're not able to show your work, nobody
Not
will.
just like
Not
a
like a
backup
backup.
skill,
Look,
not like
Yeah.
a backup.
look,
It's more like a,
Primary thing है actually.
it's
Because
like a,
look आपके दोनों
It's supportive
नहीं है
thing for your
हाँ
main thing. Like it's something like if
हाँ.
you
आप
yeah like अगर
Yeah,
मैं
like,
एमएल कर रहा हूँ, आई हैव समथिंग, मुझे उसे दुनिया को बताना है, मैं अपने पोर्टफोलियो पे डाल दूंगा, बात खत्म. Like and I should know
uh,
how to make a portfolio. Like I should have a portfolio for that. Yeah.
guys, one thing, we have just 5 minutes of schedule time. After that, the meet link, I guess, it will get closed. So if you guys want to extend it, can you please keep it in the chat? Put it in the chat.
नहीं तो
Otherwise,
डिस्कॉर्ड
it's
पे आ जाओ भाई
already.
इसका डाउट
Yeah. I
डिस्कॉर्ड
think
पे
I
आ
will
oh,
जाओ
leave after 5 minutes, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, me too. One last thing, because I know it's too early, but all the guys will compliment me on that. Like they will agree with me, or that keep your LinkedIn like updated
Oh,
kind
Yeah.
of
very,
thing. That's
yes,
very
Of
important.
course. That's
Like
very,
important.
you can ask your second years. We in our interview, like DSC interview, we told everyone please keep your LinkedIn like proper. It is important.
Yeah,
Like
somebody asked me.
जिसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा है वो कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग से चालू हो, ठीक है, उसके बाद समझ में आ जाएगा सब. जाओ.
Yes,
हाँ.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Competitive
is
coding
genuinely
चालू
good
करो
advice.
देखो अभी ना
and
हम लोग जो
जो
भी
कोई
बोल रहे
नया
हैं,
है वो कॉम्पिटिटिव को स्टार्ट करो.
या अगर लाइक यू गाइस आर इन फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर, वी नो आप में से बहुत किसी को लाइक बिगनर्स हैं आप लोग, ठीक है, बहुत कोई बिगनर है, बहुत एंड बहुत कम लोग हैं जिन्हें बहुत कुछ आता है, मतलब हर टाइप के लोग होते हैं, ठीक है. जब मैं फर्स्ट सेम में आया था तो मुझे याद है मैं एमएल में बहुत ज्यादा था, मैं टीचर से जीपीयू के क्लस्टर्स के बारे में पूछता रहता था, अगर देवा को याद हो तो पर मेरा बाद में इंटरेस्ट
फिर
शिफ्ट हो
एक
गया.
प्रोफेसर भड़क गई और ऐसा टफ क्वेश्चन सेट किया एग्जाम में कि कोई सॉल्व नहीं कर पाया पूरे बैच में.
हाँ. भाई
या
रुको, हाँ, फैकल्टी से कोई पंगे ना लेना,
हाँ,
ठीक है, नहीं तो वो
फैकल्टी से
हाँ
तुम्हारे ग्रेड खराब
पंगे.
कर देंगे. एक
या
चीज मैं बता रहा हूँ, मेरे साथ हुआ है, मैं अपनी जेन्युइन हालत बता रहा हूँ कि भाई तुम फैकल्टी से लफड़े ना लेना, ठीक है, उनसे बना के रखो और जो बोले हाँ सर करते रहो, ठीक है. और वो
इसका
गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल से सरकारी जॉब कर रहे हैं, उनको मतलब नहीं है तुमसे, उनका पैसा आएगा, ठीक है, वो नहीं आएंगे क्लास में तब भी उनका पैसा आएगा, तो उनसे पंगे अंगे ना लो, ग्रेड खराब कर देंगे वो लोग,
अनुराग
और ग्रेड
one
ग्रेड
more
तुम्हारा हमेशा रहेगा.
one
हाँ
more
हाँ,
Manish.
thing.
कंटिन्यू.
It's an important thing. So तीनों बैच के लोग थोड़ा ध्यान से सुन लो. You guys don't have a Google group अपने बैचेस पे,
हाँ, that's
राइट?
very
तो तुम लोगों
important.
ने
अच्छा
नोटिस किया
लाइक
होगा कि आई सेंड द मेल थ्रू माई पर्सनल ईमेल आईडी. लाइक कॉलेज ईमेल आईडी से मेरे को भेजना पड़ा बिकॉज लाइक कॉलेज डजंट अलाउ mass emailing to you guys through another email address, right? So अपने सीनियर से पूछना how to make a Google group. Make a Google group with a personal email ID so that we can send like resources to you regularly, okay, and notifications as well. So make sure to do that, okay.
हाँ भी
And I hope to see one response from each of the batch. Yeah, you guys will take initiative to build this Google group.
डू यू गाइस हैव सीआरस, या लाइक क्या सीआरस डिसाइड हो चुके हैं तुम लोग के क्लास के?
Yes, personal ID Google group. Institute ID नहीं. You need a
पर्सनल आईडी
personal
से
ID.
बनवाओ. हाँ तो
हाँ तो अपने सीआर्स को बोल दो गूगल ग्रुप बनाने के लिए. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सभी क्लब्स बोलेंगे.
और ना बने तो किसी को भी पिंग कर देना हम लोगों में से, फ्रेशर्स
या
ग्रुप पे या तो डिस्कॉर्ड पे.
आदित्य सर है भाई सीआर आईएमजे
भाई
पूछो.
अपने सेकेंड ईयर
नहीं
को
नहीं
अप्रोच
Yeah.
करने से मत डरना, ठीक है. ये लोग भी बहुत
या
दिल है, बहुत लोगों को मैं पर्सनली जानता हूँ, कुछ काम नहीं करते पूरा दिन ये लोग. तो
गजब
बस
बेइज्जती भाई,
या
ये उनको थोड़ी
सेम
direct
बताना
मैं
था,
भी.
exposure.
ये
सिर्फ
उनको
अच्छा
थोड़ी
सिर्फ
बताना
मीम
था.
और रील्स
अरे देवा,
रील्स
Yeah.
द
फॉलो तो.
अमाउंट हम लोग जितना भी वेले हैं, ये लोग ऑफ कोर्स ज्यादा होंगे,
ऑब्वियसली
हाँ
Yes.
और ये लगते मिलने भाई
काम तो इसलिए करते हैं।
अरे तो ये उनको क्यों बता रहे हो? कुछ थोड़ी इज्जत छोड़ दो भाई, गजब
हाँ,
बेइज्जती
the
है।
thing, the basic
नहीं
gist
नहीं
of this is कि तुम्हारा point of
या
contact second year है,
या
okay,
तुम्हारा
हाँ
पॉइंट ऑफ
हाँ
कांटेक्ट सेकंड ईयर हमें भी
so
कभी पिंग
उनको
करोगे वी विल बी मोर देन हैप्पी टू लाइक सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट
respond,
मनीषा या
yeah.
एकेडमिक्स कैसे हैंडल करना है,
सीख जाओगे
द पॉलिटिकली करेक्ट आंसर इज अच्छे से पढ़ाई करना, ठीक है। बस एग्जाम के एक हफ्ते पहले से पढ़ाई शुरू मत करना। द एक्चुअल आंसर इज भाई एग्जाम के 2 दिन पहले पढ़ाई शुरू करना और एग्जाम के टाइम पे गूगल खुला रखना।
बस
Actually, just
ऑनलाइन
ensure
है
कि
तो
back ना लगे।
मैं तो वो भी नहीं
या
करता भाई छोड़ दिया अब तो।
मेरा बस एक
आदत
गोल है आई डोंट केयर अबाउट ग्रेड्स ये मैं हर जूनियर को कह रखा है किसी ना किसी पॉइंट पे मैं तुम लोगों को ही कहूंगा मेरे को बस बैक नहीं लगानी अपनी ठीक है तो ये
अच्छा
मेरा
हाँ,
है
अनदर
Ensure
थिंग, अगर कोई
लगाना भाई
द
या
ग्रेड का एंटायर थिंग डिपेंड्स ऑन योर
या
प्लान्स,
ऑन
ठीक है।
प्लान से आया
अगर तुमको
एग्जैक्टली
जॉब करना है तो मतलब ट्राई टू मेंटेन 8.5 या लाइक
7
8।
प्लस
भाई
सेवन
भाई
आई
सेवन
भाई
पॉइंट फाइव
8.5 नहीं
सर
भाई।
8.5 आप
Dude,
कैसे मतलब
मुझे
अरे
कैसे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं?
if you want to like there are two things that you will be doing after this college happens either you will be in your jobs or you will be going for higher studies
हायर
अगर
स्टडीज,
तुम्हारा प्लान है higher studies पे maintain
हाँ
the
कोई
best
है
GPA
इधर
that you could
जिसको
ever
लाइक
yeah
मास्टर्स वास्टर्स के लिए बाहर जाना हो, या लाइक यू वांट टू गेट अ मास्टर्स फ्रॉम यूएस और कनाडा और समथिंग लाइक दैट। जैसे
yeah
कि मैं हूँ, लाइक मुझे नौकरी नहीं करना, मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता नौकरी करना बहुत बोरिंग लगता है।
yeah
अगर मास्टर्स चाहिए तो 8.5 प्लस के लिए टारगेट करिए जॉब चाहिए तो
नहीं नहीं,
7.5 के प्लस
मास्टर्स चाहिए
नहीं
तो भाई
master 9
9 के
plus
ऊपर, 9
yeah 9
प्लस।
plus if you
अरे
want to
मैंने
get
देखा था
masters in this college
डब्ल्यू पे जो अपने लोग का लाइक ग्रेडिंग चेंज करते हैं तो उसमें 8.5 प्लस इज अराउंड 3.8 3.9
हाँ
राइट
बट इट्स गुड टू हैव अ
हाँ
परफेक्ट
इट इज
जीपीए
गुड टू हैव
अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट।
हाँ राइट
also अगर ग्रेड कम आ जाए तो लाइक ज्यादा डिमोटिवेट नहीं होना अगर गलती से आ भी जाए
जॉब
तो
अगर
ठीक है
हाँ जॉब
हाँ
करनी है
अगर
तो
एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कुछ नहीं होता कॉलेज में कोई भी दिन ना तुम्हें ऐसा लगे ना एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड है या कुछ भी है ठीक है किसी को ही पकड़ के पूछ लेना कि सर आपको कैसा लगा था वो 10 ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स और बताएगा तुम्हें कि आज एंड ऑफ द वर्ल्ड लगा
मैं तुम्हें
हाँ
पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस बताता हूँ आई नो अ गाय जिसकी लाइक 3-4 सब्जेक्ट्स में बैक थी ठीक है 5.5 के अराउंड उसका सीजी चल रहा था इस समय सबसे पहले अपने बैच में वो बंदा प्लेस हुआ है और उसका उसका पैकेज अगर तुम लोग मैं वैसे डिस्क्लोज नहीं कर सकता हूँ बट उसका पैकेज 40 प्लस है ठीक है उसमें सीटीसी उसका अराउंड 18 है और वो ऑलरेडी जॉब कर रहा है बैंगलोर में इस समय और अभी का 5th ईयर है वो तो आप देख लीजिए जॉब के लिए कितना सीटी चाहिए बट
I
सेफर
think
हैंड
या
I think
7.5 जॉब के लिए
या
एंड हाँ
back and academics rank में मेरा एग्जांपल भी अच्छा है।
या
बैक मतलब बेसिकली यू नीड टू रीच
माइक्रोसॉफ्ट
अ
नहीं है
गुड
वो
टारगेट।
माइक्रोसॉफ्ट नहीं है लेकिन वो कहीं कर रहा है मैं बताऊंगा नहीं
या
बट उसका उसका डेवलपमेंट प्रोफाइल है ठीक है वो ऐसा बंदा है जिसकी डेवलपमेंट बहुत फाड़ थी सीजी बहुत खराब था सीपी आती नहीं थी डीएसए आता नहीं था सीजीपीए बता दिया 5 के अराउंड था ठीक है 5 सब्जेक्ट में बैक थी उसका पेपर मैंने लिखा है तुम लोग तो लिखोगे नहीं लेकिन मैं अपने सीनियर्स का पेपर असाइनमेंट लिखता था ठीक है और उस बंदे की सबसे पहले प्लेसमेंट हुआ है अपने बैच में अभी का 5th ईयर है बस निकलने वाला है ठीक है पार्टी लेने जाऊंगा मैं बैंगलोर
Deva, a question for you.
Oh, if you plan to do further studies after a couple of years, what approx CGPA would be fine?
After work, actually.
Oh, after work, like the
आफ्टर
thing
वर्क
is, if you have like a 1 to 2 years of work experience, फिर CG उतना प्राइमरी मैटर नहीं करता, बट इट स्टिल हेल्प्स क्योंकि if you're going for the prime the major institutes abroad, like let's face it, if you're going to do a masters abroad, you should go for the major institutes क्योंकि it's not worth going to the secondary institutes if you're like going to spend that much money trying to get a masters outside. So the admissions process over there is very it's very competitive, so you at least need a CGPA of 9 plus. Try to
या
keep it above 9.5, but if not possible, try to get it above 9.
या
Only if you
तुम
want
लोगों
to
ने
do high studies.
लाइक केवीपीवाई एंड ऐसा का मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ बहुत लेम सा है लाइक द मोर नंबर ऑफ सर्टिफिकेट्स यू विल हैव द मोर इजियर इट विल बी लाइक ऐसा तो बाहर के स्टडी लाइक द मोर गुड थिंग्स दैट यू विल बी डूइंग मुझे ज़्यादा आइडिया नहीं है बट द थिंग इज कि अगर तुम्हारे पास 6-7 अच्छे अच्छे लाइक इफ़ यू आर इनटू ओलंपियाड्स इफ़ यू आर इनटू लाइक व्हाट वी से तुम्हारे 8th 9th एंड 10th के भी शायद सीजी मांगते हैं वो लोग बाहर के लिए दिबा को ज़्यादा अच्छा आइडिया है बट दैट व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड And
हाँ
that's
ये
why
सही है कि the more
yeah,
certificates you have, the more like
each
it's better for you.
yeah,
स्कॉलरशिप्स के लिए और ज्यादा कॉम्पिटेटिव हो जाता है.
yeah,
तो even though you can get a offer letter from a college, but the chances of getting a scholarship is far less than getting into a like Ivy League or let's just say any random college, Carnegie Mellon or anything you dream of. So
कार्नेगी
अगर
मेलन
scholarship
रैंडम मत बोल भाई. कार्नेगी मेलन is the college.
कॉलेज में ठीक है, कार्नेगी मेलन इज नॉट एन आईवी, मैंने बस ऐसे ही बोल
yeah,
दिया, बट ये
yeah.
स्कॉलरशिप के लिए और होता कंपटीशन है, ठीक है, एंड देयर
Also,
इज लाइक कंपटीशन तुम आईआईटी से भी कर रहे हो, सबसे कर रहे हो, तो सीजी अपने देख के रखें, चाहे
yeah.
वर्क एक्सपीरियंस हो चाहे ना हो, जितना अच्छा निकाल सकते हैं निकाल लें.
Yeah. Also, the thing is, ये एक मैं ये चीज बोलना भूल गया, like it is regarding GDSC का Discord group. वहाँ पे ना like जितना तुम लोग इंटरेक्टिव रह सको, that is highly appreciable.
हाँ यार,
Yeah,
अभी हम लोग
that's what.
फ्रेशर्स वाले
Appreciable,
ग्रुप पे भी
yeah,
यही कह रहे थे कि
yeah,
हमारा
like
बैच तो नहीं
प्लीज
कर पाया, मतलब कि एक्टिव रह पाने का. वी होप
yeah,
दैट कि तुम लोग करे.
yeah,
और मैंने आईएमजी से मतलब हम लोग की मीट भी थी उधर, कई लोग अभी से डिस्कॉर्ड सर्वर बनाए और उसको मेंटेन करके रख रहे हैं, मतलब
yeah,
कोडिंग कॉन्टेस्ट वगैरह
Also,
डिस्कस करते हैं.
also the
yeah,
तो
thing with
तुम लोग
maintaining
भी ऐसे
Discord
ही कुछ
server,
करो.
yeah,
GDSC का Discord server maintain करने से related ये भी चीज है कि you need to ask questions. Like हम आंसर तभी दे पाएंगे जब तुम questions पूछोगे.
yeah.
ठीक है? So you need to take the
With
first step.
yeah,
Yeah,
whether be
like
it
दे,
as simple as installing the C++ compiler या C compiler, जो तुम लोगों में से बहुत कोई अभी फेस कर रहा होगा, आई गेस, मुझे नहीं पता, आया किसी को C इंस्टॉल करने में दिक्कत? तुम लोग C
ये
इंस्टॉल कर
स्कूल
रहे
में कोई ना कोई
अभी तक अपने
रोएगा
बैच में आते हैं, अगर मतलब सेकेंड ईयर में भी, तो तुम लोग क्या
हो?
है,
वही,
कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग बता देंगे, बस पूछो.
yeah,
yeah, the thing is कि instead of discussing into your own private groups or Discord servers, discuss there ताकि पूरे college को benefit हो उससे, and
Like
yeah,
people will
you
also
never
know
know,
कि yeah,
somebody
this
else
guy
might
is
have the
doing
same
something.
question.
yeah. There is this nice question, like, is there correct timing to start going deep into different
डोमेन्स.
yeah,
डोमेन.
the domains means, like, yeah. See, the thing is कि whatever it is, like whatever things that you are going to go like learn बहुत अच्छे से ऐसा, that is something that you are doing for yourself, that is something you are doing for your skill sets ऐसा. तो you have to be consistent and जब तुम्हें ऐसा लगे like you want to explore more, go more. उसके लिए कोई ऐसा टाइमलाइन नहीं है, बस the only thing that you should keep in mind कि तुम्हारे पास कॉलेज के बस 4 साल 5 साल ही है, तुम्हें उसी में करना if you plan to get a job, like इंडस्ट्री में अगर तुम्हें एक्टिव रहना है तो, like that's
अच्छा एक
what I have to
कोई
say on
प्लेसमेंट स्टैट्स
और
यार ये हम लोग को
placement
अपने
मांग
stats.
रहा है
सीनियर्स ने
यार.
भी बोले थे कि मतलब
नहीं,
प्लेसमेंट के स्टैट्स पे मत जाना, एंड दैट
हाँ
मेक
मेरा
हाँ
सेंस अब बहुत
यही
ज्यादा.
है कि नॉट वरी अबाउट प्लेसमेंट स्टैट्स एट
placements.
ऑल,
yeah,
बिकॉज
देखो, तुम लोग को इतना
लाइक
होप दे दूंगा, तुम लोग यहाँ से पैसे लेके चले जाओगे, ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि तुम लोग के बहुत बुरे हाल हैं, पैसे मिल
yeah,
जाएंगे, किसी भी रैंडम कॉलेज से जाओगे उसके 2x तुम पा रहे हो, नॉट 2x लेकिन तब भी उससे ज्यादा पा रहे होगे, ठीक है, तो
yeah,
पैसे की ना सोचो, बट हो सकता है कि तुम्हारी ड्रीम कंपनी ना हो, बट यू विल गेट द मनी, इफ यू आर आस्किंग अबाउट द मनी यू विल गेट द मनी.
गाइस देखो, हम थर्ड ईयर में हैं, हम प्लेसमेंट का नहीं सोचते, एंड लाइक वी नो तुम्हारा क्या थॉट प्रोसेस है, क्योंकि हम भी उसी के थ्रू गए. बट
yeah,
जल्दी तुम जब थर्ड ईयर में आओगे, तुम भी प्लेसमेंट नहीं करोगे. जितना जल्दी उससे दूर भागो उतना अच्छा.
बस
हाँ
प्लेसमेंट
इट्स लाइक
काउंसलिंग तक ठीक था कि कौन सा कॉलेज चूज करना है, वो
हाँ
अब ठीक है, अब जस्ट लीव दैट.
yeah,
प्लेसमेंट इज लाइक अ वेरी जनरल आइडिया ऑफ कौन से कॉलेज का पीयर ग्रुप कितना अच्छा है, नथिंग मोर. लाइक
yeah,
even if our average was like 20 LPA, let's say, there's no guarantee कि you're
इट्स
going to
ऑल,
get more than the average.
हाँ,
ठीक है, it all
बैच
depends
टू
on
बैच
you
डिपेंड
as a
करता है.
professional. तुम अगर खुद अपना skills develop किए, you can go high as to like there's no upper limit to how high you can go. But again, there's also a lower limit कि like
Yeah,
मतलब you might not even
yeah,
get a job if you're that bad at your skills. So
honestly,
focus on yourself.
it is I'd like to add कि due to COVID जो
yeah,
सिचुएशन है ना प्लेसमेंट्स का, वो बहुत ज्यादा चेंज हो गया है. ओके, नाउ लाइक पहले होता था क्या कि ऑफलाइन काम के कारण लाइक कंपनीज वर लुकिंग फॉर पीपल प्राइमरली इन टॉप टियर कॉलेजेस, बट अब सिंस एवरीथिंग इज वर्क फ्रॉम होम दे आर आल्सो एक्सपेंडिंग देयर बाउंड्रीज. सो लाइक
अब बहुत
आजकल
ज्यादा जॉब्स
बहुत सारे
निकली हैं.
न्यूज आएंगे, थर्ड टीयर
yeah,
के कॉलेजेस के लोग दे आर joining Google as freshers. Okay, which I don't think was possible a few years ago. So वो mentality अब पूरा का पूरा हटा दो अपने दिमाग से कि
yeah,
तुम्हारे सीनियर्स तुम्हारे भैया ये
कंपटीशन
लोग थे.
हाँ, अब कंपटीशन काफी ज्यादा हो गया है, ठीक है, और रिमोट की वजह से अपॉर्चुनिटीज बहुत ज्यादा है। अपने कॉलेज के प्लेसमेंट के स्टैट्स भी ऐसे हैं जो मैं रिवील नहीं करना चाहता, क्योंकि लाइक तुम लोग बहुत ज्यादा कंफर्टेबल भी हो सकते हो और तुम लोग सोच सकते हो कि क्या बात है, अब तो हो गया मेरा। बट इस बार के जो गए, नहीं प्लेसमेंट के अच्छे गए,
हाँ
प्लेसमेंट का
हाँ, प्लेसमेंट नहीं, मैं
प्लेसमेंट के
उसकी बात नहीं
अच्छे
कर,
गए।
मैं कह रहा मत नहीं करना, मैं डिस्क्लोज मत
हाँ, नहीं
करना।
करना, कंफर्टेबल
हाँ
होने की जरूरत नहीं है।
या या
तुम अभी बस इतना रखो कि ठीक है प्लेसमेंट हो जाएगा मेरा, बस देख लेते हैं कि क्या करने जा रहे हैं। अभी थोड़ा सा
Yeah.
CS:GO खेलना है। CS:GO तुम लोग नहीं खेलते, तुम लोग एकदम पता नहीं क्या ही दिन आ गए हैं। जादू
बीजीएमआई
टोना
आई
करा
गेस
करते हो,
अभी तक ये लोग
जादू
ऊपर
टोना
स्वर्णिम
खेलते
नहीं
रहते हो
ऊपर
भाई।
उठा यार अभी
BGMI.
तक यार, या स्वर्णिम अभी तक ऊपर नहीं उठा यार, मतलब
आप लोग का एक गेमिंग डिस्कॉर्ड सर्वर भी है कॉलेज का, उसको ज्वाइन कर लीजिए। कॉन्टेस्ट
वो भी
मतलब
बहुत अच्छा
उसमें
है।
तो
कंपटीशन होते रहते
ICPC
हैं,
पे
पैसे
क्वेश्चन
वैसे
आया
मिल
है,
रहे हैं आप लोग
अच्छा।
को, उड़ा लिएगा।
ऑल्सो द थिंग इज कि लाइक जितने भी
हाँ
लोग हैं
भाई,
यहाँ
लिंक
पे
भेज लिंक भेज
जीडीएससी
डिस्कॉर्ड
में,
पे, रुक जाओ।
अरे
अरे
ट्रिपल
नीड वन थिंग,
आई सर्वर को आदित्य आनंद,
वो मिल जाएगा,
वो मिल जाएगा, वो भेज देंगे
हाँ
वो।
हाँ
वो
सर,
मिल
भेज
जाएगा,
दे
तुम
रहे,
लोगों को मिल जाएगा,
उसमें
किसी
से
को
है।
पिंग कर देना, बाद में भेज
डिस्कॉर्ड पे
देना।
लिंक कर देंगे।
या ऑल्सो
डिस्कॉर्ड में मिल
द
जाएगा
थिंग
लिंक सर्वर।
इज, अरे कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट बोल रहा हूँ मैं, बोलने दो।
हाँ ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है, हाँ
बोलो
ठीक
बोलो
है
बोलो
ठीक है।
बोलो।
ऐसा द थिंग इज कि जितने लोग तुम्हें इधर दिख रहे हैं ना जीडीएससी में, ठीक है, ये लोग ऐसे हैं विच आई एडमायर अ लॉट इन सेंस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, लाइक ये लोग लिटरली कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा कर रहे हैं, इन्हें लाइक पर्सनल स्किल्स एंड ऐसा, एंड दैट थिंग लाइक यू शुड बी डूइंग टू। तुम ना एकेडमिक्स में ज्यादा उलझ उलझ के मत रह जाना, ठीक है, क्योंकि प्रोफेसर्स पूरा ट्राई करेंगे कि तुम्हें उलझा के रखे। अटेंडेंस कंपलसरी है, म्यूट होते हैं टैब्स, ठीक है, एंड ठीक है, तो म्यूट होते हैं टैब्स, तो साइड में कुछ भी करते रहना, एंड दैट्स द थिंग दैट
Yeah. Here is simple motivation for you guys. Build a bot that will automatically join your classes.
या बिल्डअप।
Yeah.
अरे मनीष तूने बना रखा है ना?
नहीं मतलब
नहीं
मैं
बनाए?
इन लोगों को बोल रहा हूँ that whoever
हाँ,
wants to start with
ऑल्सो
development,
ओपन
let's
सोर्स
say,
पे सर्च करो, कोई ना कोई मिल जाएगा उधर।
yes,
आज हम लोगों ने
simple.
बात
एक,
किया है,
हाँ
यहाँ
एक
पे एक
बनाया
है,
तो था, एक बनाया तो था
या
एक बंदा था।
एक बंदा ने
था
बनाया, वो
ऑटो
लाइक
ज्वाइन करने
तुम्हारे
के लिए,
तुम्हारे
अपनी
या
टाइम
ऑटो
ऑटो
शीट
ज्वाइन
डालो
ज्वाइन
और बस
करने के
ऑटो
लिए
ज्वाइन
बनाया
करता है।
था।
या
हाँ, so yeah, you can like ऐसे ऐसे motivations बहुत अच्छे होते हैं। जब तुम्हें बस
या
जुगाड़ वाले motivations है ना, they can help you learn technologies at a lot faster rate
देवा,
than watching
उस
tutorials.
मैं
दिन मैं
वही
तेरे से
बोलने
कुछ
वाला
पूछ
था।
रहा था, याद है, व्हाट्सएप
कुछ
पे?
दिन
एक दिन मैं पहले
नहीं,
से तेरे से कुछ पूछ रहा था कि क्या ये चीज ठीक है या नहीं,
अरे हाँ हाँ
मतलब
हाँ,
क्या
पता है।
वो ना तेरा आईएसएस के प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड है।
देवादित्य का एक और
दैट
एग्जांपल
वाज
है
माय
कि
मोटिवेशन।
you
मेरा
guys know
हाँ,
about
द थिंग इज,
Aurora?
हम मेरे को बोलने दे, ये कहानी बहुत प्यारा है
मनी
मेरा।
या बहुत प्यारा
Yes,
है, एंड
man.
आई हैव एक्सप्लॉइटेड इट सक्सेसफुली गाइस, सो या
Yes. तो ये अभी बात हो रहा है कॉलेज फेस्ट के बारे में, ठीक है। ये बहुत पुराना चीज है, तुम लोग शायद ना देख पाओगे वो, बट सैड। औरों
तुम लोग की
बोलते
किस्मत में नहीं है,
तुम
तुम्हारे सीनियर्स की किस्मत में भी नहीं है।
तो
ओ
जब ऑफलाइन
भाई
सेम हुआ
आता
करते थे तब कॉलेज में फेस्ट हुआ करते थे, तो औरोरे नाम का फेस्ट है हमारा। उसमें हम लोग का काम क्या था कि बहुत लोगों को, हम लोगों को व्हाट्सएप पे टेक्स्ट करना होता था। मतलब पूरा कॉल सेंटर टाइप बन गया था कॉलेज में कि जितने लोगों को इनवाइट कर सकते हो ज्यादा, उतना लोगों को फेस्ट के लिए इनवाइट करो। तो सब कंप्यूटर साइंस के स्टूडेंट्स है। तो मेरे को लगा कि यार ये ऐसे बैठ बैठ के दिन में 100-200 लोगों को पर्सनली टेक्स्ट करना काम तो मैं तो नहीं कर पाएगा। तो आई वाज लाइक, मैं कंप्यूटर साइंस स्टूडेंट हूँ भाई, कुछ तो आना चाहिए, कुछ तो करना चाहिए। तो मेरे को लगा कि चलो एक बॉट बना देते हैं जो ऐसा, मतलब मैं कांटेक्ट का लिस्ट दे दूंगा और वो अपने आप भेजता रहेगा व्हाट्सएप में सबको, ठीक है। और फिर मैंने वेब स्क्रैपिंग सीखना शुरू किया, फिर मैंने सेलेनियम सीखा, और फिर मैंने बॉट बना भी दिया और उसको गिटहब में होस्ट भी कर दिया। दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट इन कॉलेज, कि
या
ऐसा ऑटोमेटेड व्हाट्सएप पे मास मैसेज सेंड करने का बॉट।
ऐसे
Yeah.
प्रोजेक्ट्स बेस्ट होते हैं, ठीक है, लाइक आई मेड दिस क्योंकि ना स्टार्टिंग में कोविड आ रहा था, ठीक है, एंड वैक्सीनेशन स्लॉट्स बुक हो जा रहे थे, तो दैट वाज समथिंग, मेरे गिटहब पे पड़ा हुआ वैक्सीमेलर, वो लाइक तुरंत आते स्लॉट्स तुम्हारे लिए, दैट इज लाइक आईआरसीटी का तत्काल टाइप का बॉट फॉर कोविड वैक्सीन, ठीक है,
Yeah.
तो उससे वो भी बहुत, उसका भी
This
अच्छा
is the
खासा
high
रिस्पॉन्स
level
था।
thing that I was talking about. Like दोनों example में you could see कि they had the motivation first,
या
then
दे
they
वी
learned
हैड सम
technology.
मोटिवेशन। आई रोट, मनीष मैं ना तुझे अभी एक डीएम कर रहा, ठीक है,
तो वो जरूरी है, पहले मोटिवेशन। अगर डेवलपमेंट तुमको सीखना है तो वो करो, नहीं तो सीपी तो है ही तुम्हारे पास, जाओ।
हमारे कॉलेज में बहुत अच्छे सीनियर थे जिन्होंने लाइक इंडिया लेवल पे टॉप 40 में थे, टॉप 40 नहीं टॉप 30 में थे, और उनको गूगल से सामने से ऑफर आया था। ठीक है, अगर आप लोग के बैच से ऐसा होता है तो बहुत अच्छा लगेगा मुझे। ठीक है, क्योंकि मेरे बैच ने मुझको काफ़ी डिसअपॉइंट किया है कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग के लिए। आप लोग के बैच अगर निकलते हैं ऐसे कोडर्स जो लाइक काइंड ऑफ इंडिया के टॉप 100 कोडर्स में हैं तो सही है। वैसे उस बंदे का नाम था अर्जन सिंह बल। ठीक है,
था नहीं
सर्च कर
है।
लिएगा प्रोफाइल। हाँ, हमारे कॉलेज से निकल गए हैं वो, अब गूगल में है। ठीक है, आप उनकी प्रोफाइल चेक करिएगा, हैकर अर्थ पे अभी भी टॉप कोडर है ग्लोबली, और लाइक कोड फोर्सेस पे टॉप 40 टॉप 30 में है इंडिया लेवल में। ठीक है, तो आप ट्राई करिएगा आपके बैच में अगर किसी को अच्छी लग जाए कॉम्पिटिटिव कोडिंग।
sudo_bug के नाम से मिलेगी।
हाँ sudo
हाँ, सूडो अंडरस्कोर बग के नाम से, सूडो बग। 7 स्टार छोटी चीज है भाई, वो कोड फोर्सेस पे इंटरनेशनल मास्टर थे।
हाँ
एक
हाँ, ये
सेकंड,
लोग
इंटरनेशनल
हाइप
ग्रैंड
वाले
मास्टर पहुंचे थे वो?
जानते
मेरे
हैं।
को तो सिर्फ ग्रैंड मास्टर कहते हैं।
दैट इज वन थिंग जो मैं बहुत बहुत अच्छी लगती है मुझे अपने कॉलेज के बारे में। ओके, लेट मी लाइक कंप्लीट दिस एंड फिर तुम लोग कंटिन्यू कर लेना। लाइक अपने कॉलेज में ना तुम्हें फाड़ फाड़ बंदे मिलेंगे, लाइक बंदे बंदियां दोनों। लाइक इट्स नॉट
बंदियां नहीं मिलेंगी।
ठीक, आजकल बोलना पड़ता है।
ये बढ़िया था।
लाइक बहुत ही
ओ भाई,
टैलेंटेड, ए बात सुनो मेरी, ठीक है, तुम सबसे
है भाई,
बताऊं मैं इधर,
टैलेंटेड है।
या लाइक
थैंक यू
बहुत ही
भाई।
फाड़ फाड़ लोग मिलेंगे तुम्हें इधर। ठीक है, आई मीन एंड मुझे लगा नहीं था, मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं थी। जब मैं इधर आया आई वाज लाइक कि क्या ही होगा, ये लोग सब कोई जेई दे के आए, मैं फर्स्ट सेम में था। ठीक है, फिर मैं देवा से मिला एंड फिर मेरा थोड़ा सा पर्सपेक्टिव चेंज हुआ। फिर मैं एक मेरे क्लास का बंदा है, मैं उसका नाम लूंगा इधर, हिज नेम इज रोहित वर्मा। ठीक है, वो लाइक अभी गूगल में इंटर्न
अरे
किया था।
भाई,
फिर मैं उससे मिला एंड मेरा पूरा
फिर
परसेप्शन
हर्ष।
खत्म। जेई कुछ नहीं होता। ठीक है, फिर हर्ष, फिर बहुत लोग हैं। फिर मैं मनीष से मिला अचानक एक दिन, इस बंदे का तुम लोग को यूट्यूब पे मिल जाएगा, औरोरे का गेमिंग का ट्रेलर वो मनीष ने बनाया था।
और का ट्रेलर गेमिंग का
अरोरे
है।
की अरोरे की जितनी भी अरोरे की जितनी भी पोस्टर्स हैं जाके देखिए कितनी
इंस्टाग्राम पे
खतरनाक ले
देख
रही
लो
हैं,
पेज
सब
पे।
मनीष सर ने की है। देख
फर्स्ट
लो
सेम में,
कितने खतरनाक पोस्टर बने हैं। वो फर्स्ट सेम में किया था, इतनी खतरनाक आती है।
या
सीनियर्स
तो
आकर कह रहे थे मनीष सर से कि पोस्टर बना दो भाई, पोस्टर बना दो, ऐसा था।
या,
पैसे लेने की नौबत आ गई थी, पैसे ले लेते तो आज लाखपति तो मतलब तमीज के एकदम सबको पार्टी 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 रोज पार्टी हो रही होती। इतने पोस्टर
आ,
बनाए मनीष सर ने तुम्हारे।
मांगू के कट से ले ले। ओके, ऐसा नहीं बोलना
अभी
था
भी
क्या, सॉरी।
होती है पार्टी।
नहीं वो नहीं बोलो, वो ना बोलो
हाँ, वो
भाई,
नहीं
अभी नहीं।
बोलते,
हाँ
नहीं भाई भाई।
मतलब पोस्टर्स आई थिंक डेवलपमेंट नहीं है।
पोस्टर डेवलपमेंट,
या,
हाँ। एक दिस केस मनीष मावी सर, ठीक है, अपने सीनियर, उनको सिर्फ यूआई यूएक्स आता है। ठीक है, और
या,
बंदा की सीधे सिर्फ यूआई यूएक्स से जॉब लगी है, उसको कुछ नहीं आता, सीजीपीए भी खराब था उसका। ठीक है, आईएमजी के थे वो भी, 2017 आईएमजी बैच, मनीष मावी नाम है। ठीक है, और उन्होंने इस समय आप नॉइस की अगर जाके खोलेंगे, नॉइस जो अपने लोग का वॉच स्मार्ट वॉचेस वाला है, उसका जो लाइक वेब पेज जो अभी डेवलपमेंट में है, वो
नहीं,
लाइक
डेवलप हो
उसका
चुका है
अराउंड,
एक्चुअली, इट्स लाइव।
प्रोडक्शन में।
हाँ इट्स लाइव, प्रोडक्शन में नहीं है, लाइव है, लाइव है, लाइव है। तो अभी
हाँ,
आप जाकर के नॉइस का वेब पेज खोलेंगे तो मनीष मावी सर ने उसका 50-60% कोड किया है। वो एकदम स्टार्टिंग में थे और अभी रीलेवल में है,
डिजाइन
उनका सिर्फ
डिजाइन
हुआ है
किया है लाइक पूरा साइट।
अबे
डिजाइन।
लाइक एडवर्टीजमेंट अलर्ट, कल कोरेरो आ जाना भाई, सीनियर्स मिलेंगे, पूछ लेना। अलग
हाँ
क्लब है
मनीष मावी,
आधा इधर ही हो गया अभी।
ये बढ़िया
भाई कल
प्लगइन था,
सीनियर
ये
फिफ्थ ईयर
बढ़िया
आ रहा है
प्लगइन
भाई
था।
कल।
कल
लाइक
5th ईयर
मनीष सर भी
मिलेंगे,
आएंगे,
हमारे 3rd ईयर्स मिलेंगे।
हमारे थर्ड ईयर। हाँ लाइक
मावी
तुम्हारे।
सर लोग आएंगे क्या?
हाँ मामी सर आ रहे हैं कल।
अरे मैं भी आ जाऊंगा भाई, बहुत दिनों से नहीं मिला भाई उनसे। सिर्फ
या,
मीम शेयर होता है, बातें नहीं हो पाती हैं।
गाइस आई गेस एंड कर सकते हैं क्या, कुछ चीजें
हाँ
हैं।
आई
चलो
या
थिंक
फिर
सो
अब।
यार, लाइक थैंक
बहुत
यू,
ज्यादा।
गाइस,
जस्ट लाइक सबसे लगा
थैंक यू
हुआ है।
बहुत ज्यादा। एंड हम
मनीष
में
सर
से
का
ना
यूट्यूब
कभी ना
चैनल कौन
किसी
सा
को
है?
भी ना, ओ, मनीष सर का यूट्यूब चैनल कौन सा है?
अरे मेरा
ढूंढो
नहीं
ढूंढो।
है भाई, औरोरे के साइट
आप
पे, औरोरे के यूट्यूब
औरोरे का
चैनल
है,
पे।
औरोरे का है, ठीक है, औरोरे का है।
मैं वो हैलोवीन वाला पोस्टर ढूंढ रहा हूँ इंस्टा पे, इनको भेजने
हाँ,
के लिए।
इंस्टा पे होगा, मिल जाएगा, चिंता ना करो।
या,
बट आई थिंक
एंड
हाँ हाँ, द आंसर टू दैट क्वेश्चन इज यस, इंजीनियरिंग मैथ में जो पढ़ा रहा है वो काम आएगा।
काम आएगा।
हाँ,
हाँ
हाँ,
मतलब
हाँ,
इफ यू आर थिंकिंग अबाउट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड मशीन लर्निंग, तब तो डेफिनेटली काम आएगा।
हाँ, अगर हाँ एआई मेरे में काम आएगा, उसके अलावा
उसके अलावा नहीं।
उसके
लाइक
अलावा
यू शुड नो मैथ्स। मेरे को जेई का मैथ्स काम आया। अगर किसी ने भी मेरा पोर्टफोलियो देखा हो तो उधर एक जगह मैंने फोर्स का कैलकुलेट करी है, तो उधर काम आया। थोड़ी बहुत मैथ्स चाहिए होती है भाई, लाइक थोड़ा
वापस
थोड़ा,
flex।
ज्यादा नहीं। या वापस फ्लेक्स, या मैं करता हूँ भाई फ्लेक्स, क्योंकि मैंने
बहुत
बनाया है।
हम्बल हो यार, बहुत humble हो।
या मैं बहुत हम्बल हूँ यार।
भाई सब लोग इतना
या
तारीफ कर रहे हैं। आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस फॉर स्टेइंग विद
या
अस। हमने
थैंक यू।
6 बजे
हम्म,
खत्म करने का वादा किया था,
हाँ,
बट अभी 7 बज गए हैं। थैंक्स फॉर
7:15 हो
Yeah.
गया है।
एंड
स्टेइंग
नोट
विद
टू
अस।
सेल्फ कर लेना सब कोई, ठीक है? कि हमें ना कभी भी अपने पर्सनल गूगल ये लाइक कोई भी मीटिंग में मत बोला ना, हम लोग पूरा सेशन हाईजैक करके बैठ जाते हैं।
Yes।
हाँ मतलब हम लोगों को बतियाने में
हम्म,
बहुत मजा आता है। वी
बहुत
लाइक टू
मजा
टॉक
आता
अ
है।
लॉट, तो अगर गलती से भी इनवाइट कर लिया तो भाई बात करते रहेंगे सेशन में घुस के।
या बुला लिया तो
तो
हाँ, निखिल सर की हम
आई गेस
ओके।
चलो फिर बाय
चलो
रहेगा।
तो
एंजॉय योर लाइफ।
तो बाय गाइस,
ठीक
ठीक
है।
है?
हाँ
फिर
अभी
कभी
तो
Yeah,
मिलेंगे।
कॉलेज
guys,
लाइफ
guys.
बस
चलो
शुरू
बाय।
हुआ
अरे
है।
खुल जाए,
मजे करो।
हमें सेकेंड ईयर वालों से मिलना है यार।
हाँ तुम लोग जाओ
हाँ
हमको सेकंड